Good morning, everyone. I am Chris Gore from Film Threat. The music is blaring. I am here. It's a Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon Eastern, and, well, it's a different time somewhere else, depending on where you're watching this. I'm pre-coffee. I'm pre-breakfast. Alan is waiting in the wings to join me today on the show. Big stuff to talk about. A lot of big stuff to talk about. First, we're going to talk spoilers for Avatar: The Way of Water. I have now seen it twice. Alan has seen it twice. We got a lot to talk about. Also, Babylon. We can finally talk about Babylon, Damien Chazelle's movie. We're going to discuss that. Also, interviews with director Casper Kelly. You might know Casper from Too Many Cooks. Too Many Cooks. Remember that short film that you sent to a lot of people, said, I can't believe this thing actually exists? Well, he made a feature film called Yule, and it's a horror film. We're going to talk to him on the show today. Also, director Mark Pellington, his film Going All the Way is in release. We're going to talk to him about it. So much to discuss, and I want to hear your thoughts on Avatar, because things are kind of divided. Things are divided. I'm hearing things. I'm hearing people don't like it. I'm also hearing people say they're surprised they like it, which was my reaction. Let's get started. Let's go. Alan is I also have a very special video. If you're here at the top, I have a very special video announcement to show you, and I can't wait to show it to you. Let's go, folks. It's a Friday. I'm excited. The holidays are here. Come on. Alan,
hey,
how you doing, man?
I'm exhausted. Over the last 2 days, I've been in the theater for I think 7.5 hours, and I've been driving to theaters for 5.5 hours.
Yay! Awesome.
Yeah, that's the fun of living in LA.
Well, there you go. I'm gonna cozy up to the mic here.
I was so burnt out after Avatar yesterday.
Oh, really? Well, dude.
That's the 3-hour capper for a very long stretch of movies.
We'll get into it, but I am not just pre-coffee, I'm pre-breakfast, and I cooked. I don't know. You put me full screen here. I'm going to show you what I've got for my breakfast here. Yeah, I've got Just Crack an Egg scramble kit. Now I could have. Okay, yes, in a moment of weakness, I bought this, and I'm hungry. And so I followed the instructions. You're going to get my Yelp review right now of Just Crack an Egg. This could be a huge mistake. Huge mistake. We don't normally do food reviews on Film Threat. People know that, like, I'm happy to go to like Applebee's. I don't care. I am not a foodie. Okay. I'm a movie. I love movies. When it comes to food, I eat food so I don't die. I don't eat food because I love it. I have now, I have a newfound appreciation for food now. But literally, when I was younger, I'd think, why do I want to go to a restaurant and spend money on food? That's just going to take away from money I could spend on comic books or movies. And part of my brain kind of still thinks that. So I'm gonna now give you my live review of Just Crack an Egg. Here we go. All right, here we go, folks. It's salty, and if I eat it, I won't die. It's just okay. The funny thing is, this was like $3. I literally could have bought. This is how tired I am. This is how tired I am, folks. I could have bought all these ingredients and just made like a much better breakfast.
Or you could have just cooked up some eggs.
I could have just exactly. What was I thinking?
I know. I have that thing where, people are already talking about my steaks. Sometimes I just cook the steak. I don't need to make anything fancy. No fancy sauces. No stupid A1 sauce to pour on top of it. Sometimes steak just tastes good on steak, and sometimes egg is good on its own.
There you go. All right. So my apologies. I was just the movie went late. We're gonna get to your comments and whatnot because now people have seen it.
I know. It's like, how can it go late? Because it runs at the same time as.
Well, 30 minutes of trailers.
Yeah.
It's normally AMC 20 minutes, 30 minutes of trailers.
Yeah.
The movie.
I heard you didn't get the Barbie teaser.
Oh, I saw the Barbie teaser this morning.
Yeah.
I thought it was very funny because they parodied one of my all-time favorite films, 2001: A Space Odyssey. I thought that was funny. But yeah, the movie's 3 hours and 12 minutes. There were 30 minutes of trailers. That's like a 4-hour experience. Yeah. Look, if the movie's going to have challenges, it's that running time is going to kill it.
Yeah.
Running time. But I will say every screening packed. They're doing screenings at 8 a.m. now. It's kind of nuts. They keep adding these screenings. Let's see. As I eat my Just Crack an Egg, and if anyone has any thoughts on Just Crack an Egg, my Yelp review is just okay. It's I wish I just made a regular breakfast. I'm eating like a scramble, whatever this is. Oh my god, I'm so hungry.
Yeah.
What? What?
I saw that. It's like, oh, again, sometimes egg just tastes good as an egg.
All right, let's go to.
You don't need to put sodium crap in it.
Here we go. Enrico Palazzo for 5 says, favorite movie ending. I like dark comedies. So for me, the original not happy ending to Brazil, Very Bad Things in the Company of Men are great. Alan, favorite movie ending.
It's controversial, but Monty Python and the Holy Grail. It's just one of those. I know people who've hated the movie, love the movie up until that ending. And that one just sticks out in my mind.
Wow. Favorite movie ending. I know you're going to think this is weird because we just mentioned it. 2001: A Space Odyssey. I love the ending because it's basically a drug trip. It's like this sort of, bizarre. I would, when I got a VCR in high school, I'd go out partying on the weekends and I would come back and I would just put on the ending of 2001 to kind of bring me down. And it was the weirdest thing. So I would watch the ending of 2001: A Space Odyssey, just to also the fact that they don't really explain much of the ending. He just sort of ages, that he evolves. They send him back to Earth. And then, I mean, the book is different. It's interesting that movie 2001: A Space Odyssey, the book was being written simultaneously with the movie. So there you go.
Yeah.
My apologies.
One ending. Oh, geez. Now I just forgot what it was.
What was it, Alan?
Oh, you know what it was? Soylent Green. I knew the ending. I knew the exact details of the ending before I saw that movie. And when I saw the movie, it still creeped me out.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that, Enrico Palazzo. Luke no further 88. Luke no further 88. Howdy and good day for £2. Thank you so much. All right.
People are just watching you eat breakfast right now.
I know. I'm so sorry. Normally I just like scarf something down before the show, and there's just like I'm running out of cereal, and I was just like, I can't have cereal 5 days in a row, even though I can have cereal for dinner. That's how bad I am. Let's start off here. Sorry, folks. We're gonna start from the top. Wait.
I'll just go some endings here. Mob 1901, Usual Suspects.
Oh, Usual Suspects. Great ending.
Yeah. Although that one got ruined for me because people kept talking about the ending, and then I kind of figured out the ending. But I would also agree with MK Solid 82. Shawshank Redemption has the most epic ending. I mean, it definitely is that feel-good ending that you want in your movies.
Yeah. All right. That's going over there. Let's get into it. I'm here. I'm ready. I'm ready to roll. Shane Mackey. I'm surprised people still care about Avatar. Seems like the highest grossing movie ever, left zero cultural footprint. We're going to talk about that. This movie will be different. This movie is going to begin to leave the cultural footprint. The cultural footprint is money. And the highest grossing film of all time is the highest grossing of all time. Alan, can you look it up?
It was at one point. I do know that.
Okay,
But no, Avengers Endgame is
the highest gross. Okay,
movie.
we'll look it up. Alan. Alan, 10 seconds. Alan.
Does Box Office Mojo have it? Would I go there?
It's the highest grossing movie of all time. Alan.
I already told you what it was.
5 seconds, Alan. Hurry, Alan, hurry.
No, it's still Avatar.
It's still, see? It's still Avatar.
Avengers Endgame is 2. Titanic is 3.
Right.
Force Awakens is 4. And then
quality is not a qualification to be in the top grossing films.
Yeah, also ticket prices were very different.
Right.
You know, I mean, for Avatar to still be on top, considering how much it cost, I think it was like $9 when it first came out.
Right.
Yeah, and then Titanic, same thing.
Yeah. Mr. Luthor says Ryan Cannell liked Avatar and didn't complain that there weren't enough good white characters. Yes. Interesting. I watched both Alan and Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers and Drunk 3PO. I watched all of their out of the theater reactions, and they all, not only did Ryan Cannell like it, he was surprised he liked it. And Jeremy had the same reaction. Gary from Nerdrotic had a very different reaction. He did not like the movie. And that's fine. That's fine. But thank you.
Are you going on Friday Night Tights tonight or
Friday Night Tights? Yeah, I'll be watching it.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if you're on for this one.
There you go. No, I'm not on this one. Spider-Man says, just saw the movie. I disagree with you, Chris. I didn't find the dialogue that bad.
Yeah,
right.
I'm going to agree with Spider-Man here. I always agree with Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, first of all, I'm disappointed that I'm disagreeing with someone named Spider-Man, but I thought just some of it was just kind of dumb. Like, I just thought some of it was pretty dumb. We'll get into it. We're going to get into it. Corky's Chilling says, so far the reviews or comments from people who've seen the new Avatar movie have been positive. That is true. It's mostly been positive, both on social media and with the YouTuberati. Can we just say YouTuberati? I don't want to say YouTubers. I want something that sounds more fancy. YouTuberati. Let's do that. John Meneling says steak ingredients, meat, salt, fire.
Yeah, that's all you need. You do it right. That's all you need.
Latino Slant says, I saw you looking at your watch, Chris. Yeah, during the movie, I sat next to Paulie from Latino Slant, and I did look at my watch. It's a long freaking movie. I want to time when to go to the bathroom. Because if I go to the bathroom too early, I'll have to go a second time, which I did do. So I was trying to time my, trips to the bathroom accordingly. Amanda Nowicki, I eat food so I don't die. Doesn't everyone? Amanda, let me just point out, a lot of people love food. Like food, their life revolves around food, preparing food, going to certain types of restaurants. It's like the way I feel about movies, very passionate about movies, is the way a lot of people feel about food. And so what I was saying is, I'm not a foodie. I'm a movie, and I eat food so I don't die, not necessarily for enjoyment, which I can confirm that the last thing I just ate, just add an egg. I ate it so I'm not hungry, not for enjoyment.
Yeah, and it costs you $3 to add whatever you need to add to that egg.
Mock me, I deserve it. Gandalf identifies as White Wizard. I watched The Whale. A couple of scenes were deeply emotional, especially since I had a heart attack a couple years ago. I'm sorry to hear that, Gandalf. Yeah, you know what? The more I think about the movie, the more I actually like it. Mm-hmm. Sorry to say, the more I think about it, that movie really I found moving. It stuck with me, and yeah, I don't know. I like it more, but I don't know that I could watch the whole thing again. I don't know if I could watch the whole thing again. Gabe A for 5 says, do you think Henry Cavill will work with Warner Brothers ever again? Anything can happen.
Yeah. If they pay him enough, I'm sure he'll work with Warner Brothers again.
Yeah. I'm told for that first Man of Steel movie, he wasn't paid very well.
Yeah.
It's so weird how Superman, the character, has such a spotty history. Such a spotty history. Well, now that you bring this up, I think we have to do, I think I might have to do something. I might.
You mean it's the Superman in cinema has a spotty history, or Superman in general?
Let's talk Superman. A freaking IKEA chair. Okay, Superman has a spotty history. Actors that have been involved and played the character have had tragic endings. Christopher Reeve left paralyzed from the neck down. Suicide. There was the Superman movie.
Yeah, George Reeve.
There was a Superman movie directed by Bryan Singer that was basically one movie. It kind of, aspired to reset Superman. The false start of Man of Steel and the brilliant casting of Henry Cavill, who embodies the role, not just on screen, but off in his off-camera demeanor. But this is a character and a role that has been cursed in a way. It's been cursed, and it's really sad to see that they literally have the perfect person to play Superman, but they're making changes. Now, here are my thoughts on that. It's obvious by what James Gunn is doing. He's doing a hard reboot, a hard reset of the DC cinematic universe. They're going to release Shazam, Aquaman, and Flash, but after that is done, it's done. That's it. No Wonder Woman 3, no more Suicide Squad. That's the end. I think that what people reacted to was how different the DC cinematic universe was from Marvel. And I find myself actually sort of returning to, I'll just watch Man of Steel because that score is so great. Some of the action sequences are just amazing. And there are times at which the character kind of stops and the film takes on a much more serious tone. Whereas the Marvel movies have gone all in on just mindless humor and don't seem to even respect the characters that they're making films and television shows about. So when I look back at some of the best of Marvel, I don't know. I really wish Zack Snyder had been able to complete his vision. Had Justice League been released with his vision and they just trusted him to get that thing out, I think that there would. No, you disagree?
I disagree. I think Zack Snyder went off the rails from the very beginning. I'm not look. I love Henry Cavill as Superman. I think you're right. He's the perfect Superman. But Man of Steel was, to me, not a Superman story. Well, it was a good story, but if you hadn't slapped the Superman label on it, I think it would have done much better. It would have been accepted better. But to me, that was not a Superman movie.
Well, here's the challenge. Regardless of what you and I think, we're not in any position of power with regard to the future of the franchise. That is James Gunn right now. And here is the challenge. I love James Gunn and his work, his early work. Romeo and Juliet, made a movie for Lloyd Kaufman. He even wrote, Ghost wrote the first Lloyd Kaufman book, Make Your Own Damn Movie. Then he went on to, I love the movie Super with Rainn Wilson. It's tragic and funny and whatnot. And of course, the Guardians movie. I mean, the first one is the best. Second one, and then the third one, we'll see. And I really love the Suicide Squad. I'll just say this. Here's the problem I have with James Gunn is James Gunn is really good at making a James Gunn movie. Can James Gunn make a Superman movie? I don't know. He's currently writing it. I believe that a James Gunn Superman story in tone will be rejected in the same way that Zack Snyder's vision was rejected. The best vision for Superman on screen was Richard Donner, the first Superman movie. He embodied the positivity, what man could aspire to be. And when I say mankind, I mean, men and women. Mankind means everybody, folks. Okay. I feel stupid that I even need to say that. But
has James Gunn made anything you consider dramatic? Anything fairly grounded?
No. First of all, I don't have a problem with that at all. I love what James Gunn brings to a film.
Yeah.
The thing is, I don't think that tone the James Gunn tone will work for a Superman movie. So that is the challenge. That's the thing people are ignoring. Fine. Recast Superman. You already got Henry Cavill right there. I think it's a big mistake. I think it's a mistake, but they're looking at a hard reboot and creating a whole new DC Universe story that will span 10 years. It's very ambitious in the same way that they got to Endgame, right? So, but I just don't know that the James Gunn, if the DC cinematic universe is going to all be James Gunn toned, I don't think that's going to work.
Yeah, because in a sense, that's where Marvel went. Without James Gunn, but they're going with that tone. The key here is if Superman's going to work, a James Gunn Superman's going to work, it's going to be about the team he surrounds himself with. Anyone who's willing to challenge, really look in and say, have we captured Superman here? Because maybe James Gunn will be too close to the project. He needs people to balance him off.
True. Here's the mistake. The early Marvel movies each had their own tone. The first Thor movie is very different than the first Iron Man or the first Captain America. Yeah. Those early Marvel movies did have different tones. Then James Gunn comes along and all the movies end up having movies and TV shows end up having a sameness. And now you've got creatives doing a copy of a copy of a copy of James Gunn. And that's where I think people have become tired with Marvel. It's the sameness of the material. It all has the same tone instead of at the early Marvel Cinematic Universe, the movies had different tones. And this is going to be the challenge for James Gunn. Can James Gunn make something other than a James Gunn movie? And that's a challenge for him as creatively. Can he make a movie with a more serious tone? Can he make a movie that's not one-liners and jokey like all the time? And also I loved the Suicide Squad. I thought the Suicide Squad was great. I think the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special I thought was a lot of fun. You and I are both wearing our Film Threat
screenings.
Our Film Threat shirts, season screenings. Go to shop.filmthreat.com. But I'll say that is the challenge for James Gunn, and we're not going to have an answer for about 3 years.
Yeah.
He just started writing it. I mean, the guy writes fast. He's very prolific, and I admire him greatly. So we'll see. I don't know. But that's a very good question that was brought up in the chat, and those are my thoughts, folks. Those are my thoughts. Let's get back to some more comments before we talk about Avatar 2.
It's showtime.
All right. Man,
that was our transition. All right.
Adrian Curry gifted 5 memberships. Adrian Curry, I love you. You're amazing. You're an inspiration. Thank you for this is gonna sound. Thank you for speaking your truth. Gotta hate stuff like that. But I really appreciate Adrian. She is a fighter on Twitter. What I worry about is, and this is even for my own, is I like to post and ghost because the conversation tends to go dark. And I see Adrian in there, scrapping it up with people. And Adrian, you know what? I can't believe that people are coming after you. They're idiots. And don't waste your time. Don't waste your time.
But Adrian, we see you.
We see you. God, she's so great. Thank you for that, Adrian. And great. Let's keep going. Imperfect says, could Sam Raimi do a proper Superman? I believe anyone that can, because Superman is about values and it's about aspiring to something larger. And it's also about Superman's family is a big part of his legacy, right? He has his true parents on Krypton. I'm doing the Marlon Brando pronunciation, Krypton. And he also has his adopted parents on Earth, John and Martha Kent. So there's a lot of family in there. There's a lot of traditional values in Superman. Can Hollywood do traditional values now? I don't know that they can.
Well, we may have just seen one.
Well, yes, we're going to talk about that. God, the comments are out of control. Oh, wait. Adrian says, I need to not internet when I PMS. Adrian Curry, it's not good. I hope, and Adrian goes on to say, I hope Henry gets Bond to make up for his plight. Yeah, well, now he's got Warhammer, right? He's doing
Warhammer. That's right.
And Sifix is here. He was with us last night. We had a little movie meetup at the Burbank AMC 16 at Yard House. Sorry, couldn't stay for drinks after Avatar. Had an emergency to deal with. But thanks for the meetup beforehand. It was a lot of fun. Yes, we were drinking. I hope everything's okay. Sifex, let me know that everything's okay. Christopher Washington coming in for 10. Thank you for that. I think you mean Whedon. That dude did Avengers 1. Gunn has had influence, but Whedon was the start to the whole same Marvel flavor. Maybe. I mean, he wasn't around at Endgame's time. So
plus he was tasked with the job of taking these different tonal films and bringing them together in one film.
Right. Let's see. Kevin Rubio is here. I say, Chris, when you take into account things like Yando's funeral, Mantis telling Peter she's his sister, or Peter reaching out to his dying mother, I'll trust James' tone.
Yeah.
I hear, you know what? Yeah, look, here's the thing. I trust him too, but it remains to be seen. And I think people are skeptical. So there you go. Derek Douglas is back and says Tarantino's Superman. We'll see.
Yeah. I still want to see that Tarantino Star Trek.
Like, people keep talking about that. Amanda Nowicki says, poor Henry Cavill can't catch a break. He should be the biggest name in Hollywood. Yeah, I don't understand. It's it might be there's something, maybe they're prejudging him, maybe they're prejudiced against him. I don't know.
Did you like Man from U.N.C.L.E.?
It was okay.
Yeah,
it's okay. Adrian says, I rewatched Thor the other day. I forgot how good the first movie was in comparison to the rest. Poor Thor. He is now emasculated garbage water. Yeah, I mean, that last movie for sure. Yeah. So I had some things coming in the mail. I'll go over them. Big show today. A lot going on. And then look, Amanda Wiki says, poor Henry Cavill can't. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We read that one. I'm still pre-coffee.
Yeah, you're supposed to unstar these things.
Steve will count what 80s pop song will play as Krypton gets destroyed. Yeah. Shout, let it all out. I know it's
I think Safety Dance will be perfect.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's just so bad. That technique is constantly used where you're like, what pop song is this? Played like super slow.
And who can we blame for this?
What?
Who can we blame for this? James Gunn.
You blame James Gunn, or you can blame Gen X, which would be me. Patrick Lemire says, I am worried Superman will be a Timothy Chalamet type beta. Well, they're saying it's going to be a young Superman. I get the reboot need, but James Gunn passed on a layup with a good Superman film, perhaps too clever by half. Superman has been cast correctly twice in 50 years, right? I don't think it's as easy as they're making it look. Gabe A.
I think the first thing James Gunn can't do is make a movie for the sake of making the movie because he has Henry Cavill. It's sad that's not going to happen, but you kind of understand the business behind it.
Yeah. Gabe A for 5 says, do you think Henry Cavill will?
Yeah,
we got that one. Oh, sorry about that. Again, I haven't had a full cup of coffee yet. Anvek for 5 says, just heard about the 40K Cavill caliber proper nerd glory. Hell yes, it's at last some hype I can believe in. And he didn't even need a cape. Yeah, he's doing with Amazon Warhammer 40K. My guess is that offer was on the table and he was kind of waiting to see what was going to happen with DC and just announced it right after. Patrick Lemire says, trivia, I am in the hospital where Christopher Reeve died. Oh my God. Well, Patrick Lemire, pour one out for Superman. Matthew Hammond, are we finally going to get our Nicolas Cage Superman?
If we can't get a Henry Cavill Superman, we're not getting a Nick Cage.
Yeah, we're not getting Nick Cage. And that, you should see the movie made by John Schnepp, The Death of Superman Lives. What happened? Really great documentary. Let's see. Killick69 says he said it will be about a young Superman, and Gunn is good at comedies with teenagers, so there you have it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think you can make a teen comedy out of Superman.
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
It just seems like something we've seen before with Smallville.
Yeah.
So,
But the beauty is you cast someone young, you make them teen, you've got a franchise for at least 10 years, 10, 15 years.
we're going to get to, my apologies, a little slow today. I had to eat breakfast on the show. But thank you. There's over 400 people watching. Please smash that like button. And I don't know, hit that like button like Alan.
Balls of steel.
There you go.
With that.
Back to the comments here. We're gonna get to Avatar: The Way of Water in just a moment. AIA, we've had too many young Supermans, especially on TV. I agree. Giving us one where he's thriving in his prime. That would be nice. That would be nice. Let's see. There's MK Solid 82. There's no way they will find a guy as chiseled and good looking as Cavill to replace Superman. They will probably emasculate him with beta casting. It's possible. Amanda Nowicki says, I'm worried James Gunn is going to turn Superman into a joke. The character has had some joke stories, but he was never a comedic character. I agree. Let's see. Imperfect says, I think the cinematic universe approach has a short shelf life. Stick with focused films and occasional crossovers. Yeah. Goober, who's a member, and thank you to all of our members. We've got some interesting content that you'll have over the holidays. Exclusive content in that members tab. Goober says, Chris and Alan, same question as Midnight Movie Talk. When doing your top movie list, although you would consider craft relevance and enjoyment, which do you think your bias would gravitate towards? Usually gravitate towards sort of overall entertainment. I mean, you can admire the cinematography of Tar and admire the performance by Cate Blanchett, and still that movie won't be in my top 5, right? Like, I'm just saying, because it's parts of that movie are very painful to watch. But yeah. Alan, what about you?
Yeah, for me, it is entertainment. It's the movies that I went more than once to see, and so far the winners are Everything Everywhere All at Once and Top Gun Maverick.
Not Avatar 2?
Well, I saw that twice. I saw Black Panther twice, so let's be honest. I saw it twice because of this.
All right. James Cactus, hello. Finally able to catch you live. You guys are awesome. Thank you for all the hard work at Film Threat. Well, thank you for that. Alan, we're closing in on, let's see, where are we?
500. Oh, we're 63. 69. 63.
You gonna argue with yourself?
69. Yes, I will.
All right, we're 63,000 and growing. So thank you for that. We appreciate all of our new subscribers and hope you tune in when we're live, because that's when it's the most fun. And Patrick Lemire says, Chris, the way of coffee. Oh God, you have no idea. John Manalang, Avatar 3 pre-coffee Navis.
Coffee is life.
Goober dances with whales. There you go. Let's see. Every time Alan Kima Guerra says, every time that Alan says his room walls are pink because this used to be his daughter's room, I burst in laughter. Worst excuse ever.
It was my daughter's room. I'm just being honest here.
All right. Yeah, it's your daughter's room. It's pink.
Believe me, it wasn't her choice.
Way to push traditional gender roles on your daughter, Alan. How dare you do that? Right. Oh my God. Let's not go down that rabbit hole. The sound of one man laughing. Hit like. How can you do Superman today? He's 100% pro-American. Cannot be done. That's true. When they got rid of the whole, and the American way, I was just like, it's toward a better tomorrow, because they wanted to placate you know, people that push back against that, people who, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I don't know how you can do a hopeful Superman today, and I hope that that's what they get back to. And Movies America says, say hello to your new Superman, Elliot Page.
There you go. It's got that youthful look.
Sure. Freedom Bug for 2. Can we get a red MMA hat with the Marvel font? I have some interesting news. Gary Beekler at Nerdrotic is going to be doing hats and t-shirts and donating all the profits to charity. I don't believe it'll be a red hat, but it's the Make Marvel mail again. We'll see how that goes. Ryan Cannell is in the chat, says Avatar 2 is good. I never thought Ryan would type those words. Ryan Cannell at RK Outpost, go give him a sub. I listen and or watch him every Sunday in his live cast, and I catch he's really good at distilling. Like other YouTubers will go 20 minutes on a video. His videos are 4 minutes or 6 minutes. I love this about Ryan. Give me the news, cut to the chase, and I'm out. Great job on his channel. Congratulations. Just passed like 200,000 subs. Ryan, what are you doing watching us right now? But yeah, I watched Ryan did an out of the theater reaction. What was interesting was he had the same reaction I did. Was I was surprised I liked the movie. Like I was actually surprised. We're going to get into that. And thanks, Ryan, for coming by the show. Alan and Sarah. And how did kissing China's rear end work out for Disney and the rest of Hollywood? Well, Avatar, The Way of Water is opening in China. It's opening in China. Now, look, who would win in a fight, says William Joseph Dunn. Who would win in a fight, Alan or Alan? My money is on Alan.
I disagree. I think Alan would take it.
Well, Ryan goes on to say, Ryan Cannell says, I didn't last long, but I've got it where it counts. Exactly. But this is what Ryan, you're doing a great job. That's why your channel keeps growing. Congratulations. And yeah, I cannot wait for FNT because I know Gary Beekler hated Avatar. He hated it. Freedom Bug says Ryan Cannell is sexy as F when he is in his Pharaoh hat. Yes, the Pharaoh hat. You should just do FNT tonight wearing the Pharaoh hat. Just do it. So there we go. Thank you for that. Thanks, Ryan, for coming by. Let's see. Here we go. We're getting into comments about Avatar. Greasy Guido watched Yule log yesterday. Good stuff. Glad you liked it, Greasy Guido. We're talking to the director today on the show in just an hour and 20 minutes. That's like almost a third of an Avatar. Way of Water. Let's see. Something went wrong with me that I really want to see Babylon right now, but might not even see Avatar. Well, here's the thing. Pew Burrito. Thank you for your comment. Here's the thing. You're going to get sick of people talking about Avatar, The Way of Water, and the fact that you haven't seen it. You're going to give in. For those of you that are sitting on the fence, I'm not going to see the new Avatar. Blah, 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 I'm not going to go see it. You're going to get tired of people saying, have you seen the new Avatar? 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 You're going to get so sick. Fine, I'll just go see it. And it'll be like going to get the jab.
Yeah. On the upside, Babylon is only 2.5 hours. It's not quite the 3-hour marathon that
I thought it was 3 hours.
Is Babylon 3 hours?
Wait, Alan, look it up.
I'm looking it up. Oh, hey, they're the exact same length. Oh.
Yeah, 3 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right, wait, I do have to show you something. I've been checking the mailbox, our Film Threat mailbox. If you want to get something for free, like this sticker, just send a self-addressed stamped envelope to Film Threat 5042. Alan, this is your cue to do something like this. See the thing running at the bottom? If I'm doing, just help me out, Alan. Help me out. Just go to send a self-addressed stamped envelope to Film Threat 5042 Wilshire Boulevard, PMB 1500, Los Angeles, California 90036. Giving out free stickers. Also, if the envelope is big enough, I might put in a special gift for you. I just sent out a couple packages for some people that are going to have, they're going to really enjoy it. So we like to remind people that you can do that. And also support us and get merch at shop.filmthreat.com. You can get our lovely Christmas seasons screenings. Alan, you gotta show the graphic. There you go. Okay, there you go. Available in a red sweater version, little green shirt like I've got. Check that out. All right, let's pivot here.
Yeah, we need to get to the topic.
We need to get to the topic at hand. But first of all, we've got 450 people in climbing watching this. I have a special treat. We're talking about. Wait, no, that's wrong.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, we're spoiling this.
You know what? Sorry. No, that's me. That's my bad. My apologies. My apologies. Let's reset. Here we go. All right, Alan, it's time. Let's talk about Avatar: The Way of Water. This is spoiler territory. We are talking spoilers. But before we do that, I have a very special message. You know, this is the season of giving, and I have a very special message that I want everybody to see right now. This is very important. We're going through a lot of tough times, and I think it's important that everybody just absorb this message.
Hello, I'm Chris Gore. You know, as a lifelong moviegoer and film geek, I want to talk to you about something that's important to everyone who holds this cinematic experience so precious. Kids everywhere are totally missing out, but now you can help. For your contribution of just $25, one child will be able to see one 3D movie. Won't you give? Life isn't 3D. Shouldn't children be able to see movies in 3D? But 3D movies are expensive. I mean, I'm on TV or cable TV, and it's expensive even for me. I can't imagine what it's like for kids who have no jobs. You know, children come into this world with two eyes. Two eyes meant to see movies in 3D, not 2D. Please contribute. Go to 3dfor2eyedkids.com. Your contribution of $25 will help a child see a 3D movie. And thanks for listening.
All right. I need to point out that video was made when the first Avatar came out. And thank you, Glanuccio, for your amazing editing skills, fixing it. The music is perfect. Look, it's still $25 to see a movie if you want to see a movie in IMAX 3D, it's $25. At least the price is around the same. But yeah, I thought that you would. I thought you'd enjoy that. But let's talk about it, Alan.
Or was that something different?
No, this was right when the first Avatar came out. I made that video.
Okay.
So at least my hair is the same. But that was probably 20 pounds ago. So, but let's talk about Avatar: The Way of Water spoiler review. Like a lot of other people who've seen this movie, I was surprised how much I enjoyed it. The fact that the film is based in traditional family values with a strong father. It's funny how much that stood out because we haven't seen that in a movie. It's usually fathers, or in particular men, are mocked and emasculated at the movies. This was not the case. And the story of Jake Sully and Neytiri protecting their family is one that's incredibly relatable. I love the fact that so many aspects of this movie are relatable. A father trying to protect his family, things like feeling like an outcast when you're moving to a new neighborhood, young love, wanting to impress your friends, bullying. Much of the movie leans into the story of the kids. The kids are sort of the focus of this more than anything, even though it is Jake Sully's story. And I like that the film sets up another movie. It sets up the third movie. It sets up all the conflicts for what will be the next film. And I actually care what happens in the next film. I didn't necessarily feel that way. The first Avatar kind of wrapped everything up neatly with a bow and didn't really require a sequel. Now I really want to see the continuing story. I never thought that I would feel these things, but I have some beefs. I have some problems with the film. In particular, let's talk about the character of Miles, or Spider. He's basically, I pointed out, he looks like Chaka from Land of the Lost, and we're just gonna bounce around and talk spoilers here. So either you're one of three types of people watching this right now. One, you saw the movie, loved it, and you want to talk about it. You saw the movie, hated it, and you want to talk about it. You didn't see the movie and don't care. So if you're in any of those three groups, we're full spoilers now. Here's a big, I'm just going to point out some things that didn't work. And then Alan, I want to hear your thoughts.
Okay.
One big thing with this character, Spider, Spider's kind of a pivotal character. And it's interesting to see, when you saw the Colonel, who's now an Avatar, Colonel, what's his name again, Alan?
Quaritch. Colonel Quaritch.
Yeah, Colonel Quaritch. When you see him, at first he just doesn't he doesn't care about this kid. He's an asset to be exploited, right? Like the resources of Pandora. But at the end, there's a standoff where, Quaritch is put in a position where, his son might be killed, and he actually backs down. He actually shows some feeling for this person who's a connection. It's effectively the son of the original, the human version of the Colonel Quaritch. So he backs off. I think that the movie would be that character just annoyed the hell out of me. Sort of like this sidekick who is he supposed to be comic relief? I just thought he just didn't work at all. The other thing that was really annoying is the movie ends, conflicts are resolved, and Spider goes to live with the Na'vi. Isn't that oxygen mask going to run out of oxygen? Had they, they even make a point, hey, I can't survive in your air for very long. You can survive for hours in Earth air, in an Earth atmosphere, which I think kind of sets up something interesting for the third film. And I want to talk about spoilers here. We'll talk about speculation of what may happen in the next Avatar movie. But did that not annoy you?
No, because they're still connected with the science lab, and he's going to get his oxygen that way. And so,
how long does it last?
That didn't bother me, because there's a simple explanation for it.
Well, it just bothered me because they just went through this whole ordeal. Spider goes with them. He's got the oxygen mask. Yeah. It's going to run out. I mean, that was kind of a thing in the last movie.
Well, I mean, firstly, there are packs you can carry. And second, there is a supply that he can get to. Because I believe he's always been living with them. And then he goes back to the lab to get his oxygen. That's... To me, that's just kind of a minor thing. That didn't bother me at all.
Well, it did bother me. It bothered me a lot. So, Alan, you saw the movie a second time with your daughter. And your daughter, I believe, your daughter's the demographic for this movie.
Yes, she is. She admitted that. She said this is definitely for her age range.
Yeah.
And she hated the movie.
She did? What did she say?
I think she said she would rather watch Black Panther again than watch Avatar 2. But I think that speaks a lot to her tastes in movies. She likes movies that are a little bit darker. I mean, she wants to see the menu again. And so that's kind of where her mind frame is at. And but I know things are in trouble when we're 30 minutes in and she goes, how much longer is this movie gonna go? The length really got to her. And honestly, she didn't lighten up in this movie until that final battle scene. And so it was like, this final battle scene, it there's a long wait to get there. And that's really when the adrenaline of this movie kicks in. I think I mentioned it on Wednesday. For my personal opinion about the movie is, I found it refreshing for the reasons you brought up. The fact that it is a straightforward story about family, and that there's no nonsense woven into that. I mean, James Cameron has always had a liberal, semi-progressive stance in all his movies. This one certainly has it, but it's not annoying in any way. And and I think, the way I see the future of this movie is Avatar 2, The Way of Water is the Phantom Menace of the trilogy. It was only in the sense that Phantom Menace was meant for kids. And that's why Anakin was so young. You had the pod race and Jar Jar to appeal to the children.
Well,
and I think that's what this movie is. And I think the next two is when it's going to skew more adult and going to skew darker. That's at least my hope for the series. And based on the story and how it played out, I think that's where we're headed. Quaritch is going to be interesting to see where his character continues. And, and then there's this whole mystery behind Kiri, or as we kept thinking was Kitty, played by Sigourney Weaver. It'll be interesting to see what they do with that character as well.
Well, yeah, I think that her character is really important. Her connection to Awa and her sort of newfound abilities to be able to channel that energy.
She's an Aquaman, basically.
She's basically Aqua Woman. Yeah,
Aqua Woman,
for sure.
Yeah.
But look, I am interested to see where it goes next, because they kind of produce. It's okay. Derek Douglas is. Google it, Chris. It's not an oxygen mask. It's a filtration mask. Is that what it is? All right. Fine. I stand corrected. But don't you?
Yeah, because the mask is different with the avatars when they're in the human areas.
Well, yes, but don't the filters run out? I mean, it's not, you can't just like
have. Well, yeah, no, the filters do run out. He gets warned early on that you're gonna run out of your filter, and that he needed to carry a second one. And that kind of happened in the beginning.
Okay, Derek, yes. So Alan's backing me up here. Like, you can't just it doesn't just run forever,
Yeah.
It doesn't run forever. You're gonna need some maintenance. All right, fine. They go to the humans and they get more filters.
I can't believe this has bothered you. This whole movie.
It did bother. I like things kind of tied up neat with a bow. I need it.
The filtration map. Yeah.
Yeah. But look, the thing is this, the dialogue did still bother me, just because it seems just kind of cheesy. I think a lot of it is because they spent time with kids. They used words like bitch. I guess you could say that like some of the Earth terms have made it now to Pandora. But who knows? They kind of like do this thing where they're speaking in Na'vi, then they sort of like they then start speaking English. My assumption is they're still speaking in Na'vi, but just for the purposes of not having it.
Yeah. Well, that was brought up as well. I mean, Jake was narrating. He said, "I've grown so accustomed to Na'vi that it feels like English," and at that moment, it switches to English.
It switches. Yeah. So they kind of make a point that just assume they're all speaking in their native tongue, but just for the purposes of being able to like look at the visuals. So
yeah. Well, again, regarding the dialogue, I was definitely not bothered by the dialogue, and I think a lot of that has to do with having watched Kenobi and Rings of Power, and know what bad dialogue sounds like. I think I'm okay with the kind of the base language that the base language of this movie.
Yeah. But I also. The thing that was annoying, we've gone through this whole movie, and there is really, the lead characters, the protagonists, Jake Sully and his family, hadn't suffered any sort of consequences. And, when they lost their eldest son, they were effectively just a gunshot wound, right? A gunshot wound, and he's dead. I'm glad. I just like it. It made sense to me. It made a lot of sense to me that sacrifice had to happen to finally go, okay, there's a cost to this war. There's a cost. Had everyone just survived and it would have just been a happy ending, I don't think it would have been as effective. Alan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. This is one of those times where a death makes sense. A death propels this family's story arc further. And I think that's another thing I like about this movie is the story arc. The fact that, this movie is about, Jake protecting his family, and the only way he could protect his family was to run and hide. And I think that is the perfect setup for what the next movie is going to be.
Yeah, I don't think that they're going to be running and hide. I think he's going to be much more proactively uniting all the different quote types of Na'vi tribes, all the tribes, try to unite the tribes again, because here's what's going to happen. We know there was a really interesting time jump between the first Avatar and the second, right? So that now he's got a grown family, grown kids and a family. I think there'll be another time jump. You may see his, youngest son now as an adult in the next film. You might even see grandkids. Who knows where it'll go? But I think there'll be another time jump. I think Earth will be a big part of it. I think you're going to see that city be much larger. There's going to be a much larger colony on Pandora as Earth begins to transfer people from what's left of Earth. I think you have to show Earth. You can't keep talking about it. They kind of showed Earth a little bit, but it was in deleted scenes. In the first Avatar, there were deleted scenes that were set on Earth. If you saw did you ever watch
No, I didn't see
extras on the Blu-ray?
No.
Anyways, I think you kind of have to show Earth. You have to show what is the state of what's happening on Earth. Someone speculated that there might be people on Earth that are activists that are somehow sympathetic to the Na'vi. I really hope they don't show that or go down that road. I think that would be annoying and maybe too familiar with, our current day politics. So I'm really hoping they don't go that route. But let's get into your comments and questions here. And it's just open spoiler. So anything you want to bring up, bring it up. We're going to talk about it. Let's go. Nikhil Sai says Jake realizing holding back and running away from threat isn't going to save his family is very good character arc. Yeah. I agree. I think that there will be a turn. Running away and not facing this head on resulted in the death of a member of his family. I think that Jake Sully is going to be on the offensive in the next film, and you're going to see. I don't know. I can only speculate. This is just speculation. Are they going to pick it up directly where they left off? I don't know. Could it be a time jump? I don't know. But I did read. James Cameron's been doing a ton of interviews, and I guess he was talking about the scripts for the future installments of Avatar, and there is some debate about whether he should combine, because there's supposed to be 4 Avatar movies, 4 more, and they're now saying, well,
is it 4 more?
Yeah. Can you look it up, Alan?
Yeah, let me
look up how many Avatar movies are coming next. Alan, can you get this answer to this question?
Yeah, I'm going to Screen Rant here.
What do they say?
Let's see. Okay, so next is Avatar: The Seed Bearer. In 2025, 2 years after the next one, Avatar: The Tulkun Rider. This is from Screen Rant, so I don't know how true this was. This is 2027, Avatar: The Quest for Awa. And that's it. So
those sound like young.
So it looks like there's 3 more after this one.
Right. So it sounds like they're like young adult novel titles.
Yeah.
The Quest for Awa. What the hell? What is this?
Yeah.
Well, at least they have titles rather than just slapping a 2 on it or just calling it Avatar. I'm sick of this trend where they just title a movie just Scream or Halloween. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So apparently Awa is the goddess deity that everyone worships.
Yeah.
The whole spirit thing, the whole tree thing.
Yeah.
Spirit tree.
My understanding is James Cameron has presented, because they've already shot these movies. They're all shot. The human parts of those films have all been shot. Now it's
principal photography.
The principal photography is done for all of these films. But but my understanding was this is James Cameron said in an interview. He said that the studio, he presented it to Disney for notes. They gave no notes. And all they said for the final film of the Avatar movies was, holy shit. That's what they said. But I heard there were talks of maybe combining the last two films into one film story-wise. I mean, the thing is, do all of these movies have to be 3 hours? That's my, like, geez, can we just make them all 2 hours? Do they have to be 3 hours?
Yeah. Well, you tell James Cameron that. I mean, part of me, I wonder, does James Cameron have kind of the Lucas deal where Cameron is funding the majority of the project and that Fox/Disney is a distributor?
I don't think so. They're too expensive.
Well, I mean, Lucas did it. You would think James Cameron had that kind of money.
Let's get to the comments, and then we're going to talk about box office. Okay? So I want to hear your comments. Spoilers, wide open. Jocelyn, were you fully immersed in this movie, or were there distractions that took you out? Only my bladder was the only distraction. Other than that, I was fully engrossed. Even in the stuff that some would consider like, that's the boring part. When the kid makes a friend with the whale is boring. I found that I like that. Yeah. It was like a boy and his dog kind of story.
Did you see it last night in IMAX 3D?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So this is my question, because I saw it in Dolby. The high frame rate really didn't bother me in the Dolby theater. Yeah. Did it bother you in IMAX?
Yeah, it did. I really enjoyed it. And I was just like, it just felt, you know what it felt like? This is going to be a weird comparison, but stay with me. One of my favorite rides at Disneyland, I've been at Disneyland since 2019, was Soarin' Over California, which they then changed to Soarin' Over the World. And it's just this relaxing, you smell things, you're immersed in this sort of bubble where you're gliding and fly. And I felt like that. It's just one of my, plus because I was in like the 4th or 5th row, at an IMAX screen. Luckily I was closer to the center. But I was still like, it was a neck breaker, but I was totally immersed. Like, I just had a smile, just a big smile on my face, like during a lot of those scenes, because I was just into it, Yeah. But your daughter hated it.
I definitely wasn't bothered by the high frame rate, and I think maybe Cameron has learned a few lessons from The Hobbit.
A lot of comments coming in here. We're going to get to them all, so bear with me. Spider-Man, they have an Avatar flight ride at Magic Kingdom, and apparently it's one of the best Disney rides ever. I have heard that.
Yeah.
I have heard that from just a lot of fans of that. Brock Samsonite, they released the titles of the next Avatar movies so early because they wanted to lock in the URL addresses beforehand so they don't get snipped. Oh, that's great. I love that. Iceman, you as a studio don't give notes to James Cameron after putting out She-Hulk and Miss Marvel. Yeah, can you imagine, like, oh yeah, this is the studio that put out She-Hulk. You're giving me notes on my movie that's probably going to make $2 billion. We'll see about that.
I mean, you hate to say it, but Cameron has proven himself with 3-hour movies.
I love it.
They make a lot of money, and so no one tells James Cameron to cut his film.
This is the thing. People that don't go to movies on a regular basis are going to see Avatar. They're just going to see it. Enrico Palazzo for 5 says, would Sully have brought Spider into the family if he had been told that he saved Quaritch's life? I don't know. It's one of those things. It's a moral issue. Someone is about to die, even though they're your enemy. James T. Kirk used to do this all the time. James T. Kirk was going around the galaxy, hooking up with who knows what, getting space STDs. But the other thing about Captain Kirk is when he had an opportunity, the story with the Gorn, he had an opportunity to kill his enemy. Said, I won't do it. I won't do what you want me to do. Like it's because he has a moral issue against killing. So, but Jake Sully's going to probably have to do that and has been doing it to save his family. So, but we'll see. Derek Douglas, Avatar 5, Jennifer Lawrence is Awa. I could see that happening. She would be the first. It would be the second time she plays kind of a.
The first female lead in a movie.
Right. She'd be the first female lead in a movie. Remix 36720. I still think the dialogue in this movie is far better than the garbage the MCU has been delivering lately. Fair point. Spider-Man Cameron confirmed we are going to Earth in movie 5. So three more movies from now, we finally go to Earth. It'll be in the last movie.
Yeah, he still has 9 hours of movie story to tell.
Oh my God. Do you think the villain's death was disappointing? Well, the primary villain doesn't die. I would say that one of the deaths gets a great laugh. Like it, but you know what it bugged me? It bugged me in the Star Wars sequels that not one person gets a limb chopped off. Story with lightsabers. That is one of those things like, you know, if you're a male character in a Marvel movie, you will take your shirt off. And if you're going to do a story with lightsabers, someone's getting an arm chopped off. Not one limb was severed in episode 7, 8, or 9. It was stupid. And in Avatar, there's a scene where one of the whalers gets his arm severed, and it's a comedic moment. It's sort of gruesome and funny all at the same time. So, yeah, I mean, he doesn't die. So, Derek, you got to see it.
He doesn't die?
What, Quaritch?
Yeah, I guess it's unclear. Even Jermaine Clement, does he die?
We didn't see it. Maybe it happened off screen. So
yeah, the boat didn't turn out so well.
Retro Nerd Girl is back. Subscribe to her channel. I love the fact that Cameron said, I don't want to hear any whining about the running time. Just like a dad. Love that guy. What's funny is that's why I like James Cameron, is I am definitely someone who will go into dad mode on things. I just go into dad mode. What can I say? And I'll say, all right, no TV. You can't decide what to watch? Then there's no TV. Go do something else. Read a book. I have actually said those words to humans that I'm related to that are much younger. Not so much lately. Greasy Guido, who is this Asian woman that died, which appears to be Alan's favorite part of the movie? Alan, let's talk about that.
They're not. No, my point is that Asian women dying is not my favorite parts of movies. I'm just calling out the fact that when you have an Asian in your movie, they die. And I will say that this Asian lasted twice as long as the Asian in Black Adam did.
What? What? So, yeah, what?
Yeah, Asians don't make it long in these movies. So.
Well, I mean, there was a kind of a lack of diversity of all the whalers and the military men. It seemed like it was more diverse in the first Avatar. I'm serious. Yeah. I'm being dead serious on this. Thank you, Greasy Guido, for your comment. Derek Douglas. Yep, look at this. Derek Douglas, didn't you get fed up with the fact that the kids were talking like they were at a skate park in the 90s? Bro. First of all, you're not wrong. That is totally like, I mean, this is why I also think the movie is sort of like, because James Cameron's kind of set in his ways, right? Like James Cameron is he's sort of from a different, I mean, he made his bones in 80s and 90s, is kind of maybe still stuck in that. And maybe that's a good thing. It's a good thing that he's kind of stuck there rather than sort of modernizing modernizing everything about it. That's why I think the film worked for me. Most of the cast, Derek Douglas goes on to say, most of the cast in Black Adam was Asian.
So let me point out. Okay.
Right.
Middle East aside, there were 2 Asians in Black Adam. There's Dwayne Johnson and the woman who got killed. But yes, it was in the Middle East, and there. I'm just talking about people who look like me, and I probably just got myself canceled again.
Did you feel seen, Alan? Did you feel seen?
Well, with the Asian woman dying so quickly, yeah, that's how we've been seeing the movies for a very long time.
Well, do you think that, I mean, here's what's interesting about it. We're going to, after we get through these comments, we're going to talk about box office. It's, it's just interesting that no Marvel movies were released recently in China. This movie gets released.
Mm-hmm.
This movie is opening in China, and there is literally one Asian character in Avatar: The Way of Water.
I can tell you, Chinese don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Good.
No, I look. I'm not upset that there weren't Asians in it. I'm just upset with the hypocrisy, this whole diversity movement, where everyone, and everything has to appear in your movie. To me, it's always about just tell a damn good story. And I'd love to see more of my people in it, but honestly, the movies that have had Asians in it have not been very good. And so there you go. Tell a good story. That's all I want.
The Alex Zorba, who's a member, says, passing on all things Disney. The ban is permanent. Wow, you're not messing around. This one. Not messing around. Sean Z Comic Construct for $1.99 says, lol, Alan, did I just get myself canceled again? Wait, do people actually come after you, Alan, to get canceled?
They don't. No. But the thing is this the fact that you have to walk on eggshells every time you say something that's, that at least to you feels truthful, is madness to me.
All right.
To have to define what Asian means. The fact that I can't say, it's no longer Chinese New Year in my family. It's the Lunar New Year.
Well, they changed it to that. That's stupid.
Yeah, because it's all inclusive, and I understand the importance of inclusivity, but at the same time, to have to dance around language like this is just this is the problem we've been having in just culture altogether. This having to always analyze the words you're about to speak before you do.
On that note, I want to real quick, I want to read a letter that I received. I'm going to save it to the end. Remind me, I got to read this letter. I got an email that really, really affected me. And I want to talk about it. I want to talk about it after we get through these comments and do our box office discussion. Spider-Man, the final act of the film had some insanely fun and awesome action. I won't lie. See, you can't that third act, which drags on a little too long. I was so excited. I'm halfway through the movie and I'm like, oh my God, we still have the whaling scene and we still have I was looking forward to it. I was so excited, even though it's oh, this stuff is really pretty, and then it's the movie's going to be big.
Yeah. Well, again, that's when my daughter got into the movie in the third act.
Well, good. So is she going through, first of all, your daughter, Turo, great comment here. Did the Navi sit on a freaking IKEA chair? No, they didn't. The chairs in Avatar: The Way of Water were awesome. They were all real world chairs. I thought they were great. Now, here's what I think with your daughter, and I've been through this too. Kids reach a certain age and they're too cool to like something. They hate everything. Is your daughter going through that phase?
She's definitely transitioned out of the Disney Channel, princess type movies, where a story about family is not exactly a story that appeals to her. I think she does want to see a little bit more dark, a little bit more. Right now, she's rewatching the entire Once Upon a Time series. That's her thing right now.
Well, I do think that just having, had kids that went through that phase, there's a phase where they hate you. Everything you do is dumb. Things you think are stupid. You're an idiot. This is what they're saying to their parents. Kids will do this. and if you've got grown kids, people in the chat, you know what I'm talking about. If you have young kids, get ready for it. They go through this phase. And they hate you and just everything about you is wrong or whatever. Let them get through it. It is a phase. They grow out of it and then they come back.
Well, fortunately, she doesn't hate me, but it's harder to drag her to movies. It's this is the time I'm getting invited to all these screenings. You can come with me. And it's no, I'm not going to do it.
It's God. That's so funny, Alan, because does she realize how lucky she is?
I know. I know. It's like, you know, she doesn't even tell her friends about the things she does. It's like she met Moana at the Asian Pacific celebration, and she loved meeting her, but she won't tell her friends that she met her.
Why?
You know, because
Like to brag. It's so
yeah, I think that a lot of that is she doesn't want to draw that kind of attention to herself. You know, the idea of, hey, you're going to see these movies before all your friends, and it's just like, yeah, okay. It's not as exciting as I think it would be.
Movies America says stop expecting Avatar to be a Coen Brothers movie. It's not trying to be the cinematic equivalent to a philosophy symposium at Cambridge. Yeah. Exactly. It is a popcorn movie. It is a blockbuster movie. And look, you are not going to watch a 3-hour movie without getting popcorn. There is absolutely no way under the sun you are watching a 3-hour movie and not eating popcorn during the movie. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So, yeah, it's a popcorn movie. It's a blockbuster. I mean, I did find it like on second watch, the thing that did bother me is a lot of the movie is just like, it doesn't slow down. I was surprised that the running time, there's not a lot of slow parts. And the slow parts, which I would consider like sort of the spiritual AWA stuff, it's like, it's done pretty quickly and it actually does serve to advance the story. You know, when Jake Sully visits his son in the spirit realm, but both Jake and Neytiri go into Awa to visit their son because that's where his soul resides. I found that really touching. I found that, and you know, I would.
Well, I mean, I think the whole whale sequence, you know, was a slow part, but it was a very beautiful part.
Yeah,
you know, it's you know, like, you know, we'll always talk about how just beautiful and gorgeous this world is, and to me, being in the water would just enhance that more, especially compared to the first movie. But again, that's my preference. I prefer the beach more than the forest.
Movies America goes on to say, for only the price of a cup of coffee, you can save a kid from a drag show and send them to a 3D movie. I have something to say on that. I am a huge fan of Glenn Milstead, who is AKA Divine, a very famous drag queen actor who appeared in almost all of John Waters' movies. Not all of them, but almost all of John Waters' films had featured Divine. I love drag queen bingo at Hamburger Mary's on Santa Monica Boulevard. I have been to that drag queen brunch when they play bingo and then you can win prizes. It's super fun. I think drag queens are hilarious. It is not for children under any circumstance whatsoever. It is an over 18, if not over 21 adult show. It is an adult show. And I personally think drag queens are incredibly entertaining. There are some that are just incredible. It is adult entertainment, just as pornography is adult entertainment. Okay. It just is. Whatever you want. That's a whole other discussion. All I'm saying is, I don't understand why this is a debate. And I don't understand how this is even on one side of the political aisle only. This should be a bipartisan, like, can we all agree certain things aren't for kids who would make absolutely stupid decisions if given the ability to drink alcohol under the age of 21 or get tattoos under the age of 21 or to drive at the age of 11. What madness have we gotten ourselves into with some of, to me, the most basic things? Now, it doesn't mean on your kid's 21st birthday, you can't go to a drag show and drink a mimosas. Fine. That's fine. But I will say, I don't understand why this is being debated at all. And the parents who think this is appropriate, I'm a little shocked. Let's see.
Well, I mean, let's beg the question now: Is the internet going to go after James Cameron for this movie? for being so pro family and for not portraying, a gay couple at all throughout the entire film.
Yeah, there are no GLAAD just released these guidelines about it's like a test of if you include gay. Who's to say that Jermaine Clement wasn't gay, or the whale ship captain? He could have been gay. What I like is I don't know, and I don't care about the sexuality of every single character in a movie. God, we're living in weird times, but I guarantee they're going. It's give it until next week, if not before the weekend. Next week, there are going to be articles about the severe lack of certain types of characters in Avatar. And they're going to start making characters for which no sexuality. There's going to be fanfic of the whale ship captain and Jermaine Clement scientist character, them hooking up. This is stupid. It's childish. And I was going to say thank God, but I'm just going to say thank James Cameron that he did not succumb to the current trends, which would have dated his movie. He kept Avatar: The Way of Water a very simple core family adventure. And it's so funny that we're grateful just to have that.
Yeah.
More comments here. Luther Talbot for 5. It's about breaking down the family mentally and emotionally, wrecking our kids to make them easier to manipulate and control. I can't imagine how traumatic it would be to have a parent of mine take me to some sexually charged drag show. Why is this even being debated? And there is no defense for it. You have no defense. Debate it. Don't fight it. Debate it. Tell me why this is good for kids. You can't. Alan Ansara, if they were women in lingerie strippers, brunch would be no questioning. So there you go. Flaccid Phoenix is here.
Yeah, I mean, you don't take your kids to Hooters. Let's be frank here.
Well, yes, I have been to Hooters. I have been to Hooters.
And you took your kids to Hooters?
No, I did not.
That's what I'm saying. Is
you
don't take your kids to Hooters either.
They have a delicious chicken sandwich, spicy chicken sandwich. I don't even think there are any Hooters in the LA area. There used to be one.
Yeah, the one in Anaheim closed.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what? I never had a problem with Hooters. I would literally go there to drink a pitcher of beer and have some delicious bar food.
Because that's why you go to Hooters. That's
why I go to Hooters. But I don't like them to pretend that they like me. You don't have to pretend you like me. Just bring me the beer. There you go. Flaccid Phoenix is saying, can we all agree Alan's Plungers show is for all ages? We might have to retire that one.
Now that you put that image in your mind.
We've been retiring videos and bringing in some new videos. So there you go. More comments. NR Kitty 83. What age range is she in? My daughter is 10. I feel like she's going through the same thing. Lol. Yeah. Well, my daughter's an adult. What age range is your?
Yeah. Early high school. She just got out of junior high. So, I think that's natural. I think that's when your tastes and things change, and and you are breaking away from the princesses of Disney and that whole mentality of just kids programming. You're just getting out of that and wanting something a little more adult.
Well, the thing is this: it is a phase. You got to let them go through it, and I believe that every child, in order to kind of distance themselves from their parents, mother, father, they need to tell them, fuck you. It's going to happen. I'm sorry to let you know this. They're going to say F you. There's a great scene with Matthew Lillard. You can just look up this scene. Matthew Lillard in the movie SLC Punk is talking to his parents and he tells them to F off. But what he's really saying is he loves them. If you watch that scene, the subtext is he's saying he loves them, but he's telling them F off because I'm my own person.
Yeah.
And I feel that at some point, and our Kitty 83, it's probably not going to happen at 10, but at a certain point, your daughter is going to say that. Just understand what she's really saying, which is she loves you. She just needs to become her own person.
Yeah.
And,
Well, from a developmental standpoint, this is the age in which they're developing their identity. You know, when they're getting off of what you wanted them to be, and that they're trying to find what they want to be. And a lot of that has to do with their culture, their music, their movies, their television, you know, everything that they the cultural aspects of what they prefer and not prefer. You know, they want to get away from what we want, and they want to find what they want.
Thank you for that comment, and our Kitty. Imperfect. Chris goes to Hooters for the articles. How did you? How did you know? MK Solid 82. Chris, I would love to hear your rant about marriage. I know you said it was a bad idea. No. Well, at some point I might, and that's a little personal. I'll talk about that at some point, because here's what is interesting. Movies are a gateway to a conversation about everything.
Mm-hmm.
Conversation about marriage, conversation about love, death, being a father, being a mother, being a daughter, being a son, being someone going through trials and tribulations in life. At some point, a movie is going to come up where that conversation will be organic to the conversation. But not today. But yeah, I'll talk about that at some point. Brock Samsonite. I bet Disney made Ron Howard do the Willow TV show because they gave his daughter Bryce a directing career by giving her establishing credits. Could be.
Oh, is she involved in Willow?
No, she directed some episodes of The Mandalorian, and actually some fairly good ones. So,
yeah, but I don't think she's involved in Willow.
No, I don't believe she is. Picelix PL for $29.99 PLN. I have no idea what that is. I'm so sorry. Alan, can you look that up with $29.99 PLN as a currency? Picelix, here's the comment. I've canceled on Disney. I'll share my subscription with YouTubers who deserve it with pleasure.
Polish Zolty.
Oh, Polish. I'm Polish.
And you didn't know this?
Yeah, I did not. I don't know what the Polish currency is, but my grandparents were Polish. They used to make guamki and pierogies, and it was delicious. So there you go. Mark Lursith says, Jack Burton, it wasn't a groundbreaking story, but it was fun. Yeah. I bet all the other recent blockbusters are a steaming pile of dog shit compared to Avatar 2. I can't wait to see it. It's weird.
That's
it's
how
just
I
like,
feel.
There's nothing in watching the movie again yesterday. I'm looking at this going, there's almost nothing original in this movie. We've seen people stand off. We've seen standoffs with people like, you know, in peril and you have to do a trade. We've seen like someone on the run that they're trying to kill. There is nothing original in Avatar: The Way of Water.
The third act is basically Titanic.
The third act is Titanic. You know, you got to, how do we save them? Titanic, but you know, they live this time, or at least most of them. But you know, it's the setting, it's the way the story's told. You are invested. And I think part of it is also there's been a complete, can you name a family adventure that was just a normal family adventure this year? This is a question for the chat. It's a question for Alan.
Yeah.
What movie came out this year that was just a family adventure? I can't think of one.
The closest thing I can think of is Everything Everywhere All at Once. But I don't think I would count that as that.
Yeah, that's a family adventure with butt plugs, Alan. That's not.
Well, yeah.
That's how I like all my family adventures, with butt plugs. Yeah. Oh my God!
But it was a story about a family.
Story about a family that's R-rated. It's not a family adventure. I'm talking about family adventure.
It's a family that goes on an adventure. Look. The question is, what's the closest thing this year? That, to me, that's the closest thing this year.
Andy has been a member for 1 month and says, I'm amazed that Avatar 2 has a conservative message, especially after James Cameron approved Terminator Dark Fate. We really need more movies like Avatar. Well, I agree. Also, didn't James Cameron say he kind of made a mistake with Terminator Dark Fate. You know, I kind of feel like he just
I
didn't
saw
know
a
what to do.
headline, yeah.
James Cameron just did not know what to do after Terminator 2 and was on to other things. That's kind of the way I feel about that, is like, he's just like, I just want to do something else. Someone else do Avatar. Alan would call Northman a family adventure.
There you go. Yeah. Again, the question is the closest thing this year to a family adventure.
Yeah. Lubitsch Touch Me said, I never said anything like that to my parents, so I disagree. Okay, fair enough. We all need to find our own individuality, but some of us can still keep a good level of respect for them as long as they give it back. Fair point, Lubitsch Touch Me. Fair point. I do think that is common, though. It's more common. That's less common. And that's maybe the way it used to be. But I kind of feel like it's more common that kids push back against their parents and act out. And I feel like it's just sort of wired into a teenage brain, and that is more common than not.
Yeah.
But
I think that acting out has a lot to do with how you react to your child when they do something that is different than what you were raised to do or what you believe, you know. Because you know, I would love to force my daughter to see Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark. I almost said it wrong. You know, and I think with the new movie coming out, she's more interested in seeing it now. But as a kid, you know, I was wasting my time trying to make her see that movie.
The dog catcher says, A Christmas Story Christmas equals a family adventure. I haven't seen it yet. I've heard it's very good.
It's good.
It's on my list.
It's not the first movie by any means.
Brad Young starting the hashtag make intermissions great again. What do you think, Avatar? Should Avatar have had an intermission? I mean, RRR, I saw 5 times the theater. One of the times I saw it, they had the intermission, and it was great. It made the movie better because it does sort of come to a climax, right? Mm. After Beam is arrested by Ram, and it's like the friendship kind of collapses. They battle, and Beam is captured. And it's this very dark down moment in the film. And you've got I think it was a 5 or 10 minute intermission. It was great. I knew when I could go to the bathroom. I grabbed an extra drink. It was awesome. This movie, I think, would have been better with an intermission for sure. I just don't know that, God, they showed 30 minutes of trailers. 30 minutes of trailers. And you couldn't have put in a 5-minute intermission, just intermission with a countdown clock. Go to the bathroom now, do it. I feel like James Cameron, if you're going to make a movie over 2.5 hours, please put in an intermission. Please. My God.
Yeah, but let's be real. Intermissions are not something we're accustomed to in movies. You know, I mean, honestly, the only time I've ever seen intermissions were either in foreign films or Gone with the Wind.
Right. It just makes sense. The People's Council says, I found Avatar 2 to be way more enjoyable than I was expecting. It's easily an hour too long, though. The whole middle segment of the movie with so much detail about whales was unnecessary. I disagree. I think that the whale, telling that whale story was integral so that you've got the payoff of the whale coming to their rescue in the third act. Like that I think it would have felt out of the blue, so to speak. Out of the blue? I didn't mean to say out of the blue. Glanuccio, we have to use out of the blue is one of our thumbnail titles for something. But no, I feel like it kind of sets it up. It's sort of a boy and his whale kind of story, and then that pays off. And then you actually feel something when the whale is in peril. The whale's being shot at.
When the mother dies.
Yeah. You feel something. So having said that, it was more, but you're right. It could have been cut down at least under 3 hours. God, James, save it. You're making, there's 5 movies. Okay. There's a lot of Avatar movies coming. We're going to see them. They're every 2 years now, right?
We'll get one next year, and then it's every 2 years after that.
Wait, there's an Avatar movie next year?
Yeah. I just
Do they have a
mentioned-
release date? Alan, you got to look it
Yeah,
up.
December. They're all coming out in December. So December 23, 25, and 27.
Wow. Okay, so next year it's just coming out, and then we got to wait 2 years for the next one.
Yeah, and then 2 years after that.
That's great. And Film Threat will be here to talk about it.
Yeah.
Toxic Waltz and
We'll be at 100,000 subscribers by then.
Toxic Waltz and someone reposted how Avatar in 2009 opened to $70 million opening and had flopped spectacularly. Then the legs started. We have to move on from opening weekend speculation. Yes, I agree. Opening weekend is, they push all this into opening weekend, mostly because here's why I believe this, mostly because the movies are bad. And they don't want the word to get out that a movie is bad. So the more you push for opening weekend, a movie like Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which I thought was a bad movie, it can make a lot of money. Mm-hmm. Why? Because the word hasn't spread. But you saw, what was it, like 60, 70% drop the second weekend?
Yeah.
I think you're gonna see a drop on the second weekend, but it will not be a dramatic drop. Same thing with Titanic. Titanic was number one. Look this up, Alan. Please confirm this. How long was Titanic number one at the box office?
I want to say it was 9 months.
It was like 6 months minimum.
6 months.
6 months.
It was incredibly long. And
yeah, Alan.
But again, that was the time where, theaters, they ran movies until it lost steam, and that movie just never lost steam.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, all I said the whole time, because this is like back months ago, people were like, Avatar, it's gonna suck, it's gonna bomb, it's gonna blah blah blah, and I'm like, never count out James Cameron. Never count out James Cameron. These movies were not delayed for years because he was trying to make a bad movie. They were delayed for years because he was trying to make a movie that would appeal to a lot of people and be entertaining and become a box office hit, which I believe this will be. And we're going to talk about box office now.
Yeah, here, let's talk about Titanic for a second. So it debuted in December. I don't know how long it was number one, but it ran until September when the VHS came out.
Oh my God. I think I bought the VHS. Holy cow.
No, I didn't. I've not seen it.
Zavin, we're talking box office now. Zavin, I wouldn't be surprised if Avatar 2 has a huge box office over Christmas and New Year's. What other theatrical releases could a family reasonably attend over the holidays?
Well, Babylon.
You're not going to see Babylon.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to talk about Babylon on Wednesday because we're getting close to our interviews. But this is too big of a topic to ignore.
Yeah, Babylon won't come out until next Friday. So
here's why I believe Avatar: The Way of Water will get to the 2 billion mark. Here's why I believe it. One, it's a better movie than The Force Awakens, which basically made, was it 1.9 billion?
I think
it's a much better movie than The Force Awakens. Never count out James Cameron. The thing people are forgetting is international market. We're talking international box office, 2 billion. This is a movie that, because of the story, because it's a family adventure, this will appeal to people all over the world. Everywhere. This movie is going to have broad appeal. It's effectively a cartoon. And it's a cartoon with a story that is far-reaching and relatable to people. I feel like the problem and the reason that the box office has been so bad in America for so long, for at least this, since the before times, because the movies are bad. The storytelling is bad. The leaning into, agenda lecturing and social issues is a mistake, including themes which divide people. Look, Avatar, The Way of Water, an Asian woman dies in the movie. You will never see that in any other movie this year. And it made Alan laugh.
A Black Adam was
also Black Adam. All I'm saying, what I'm trying to impress upon you is James Cameron is ignoring all of this and making a full-blown blockbuster popcorn movie that appeals to the majority of people. And what Hollywood has been doing lately, they have been ignoring the types of movies that the majority of people would like to see. And to be clear, I have no problem with these types of themes being in smaller movies. You know, the movie, spoiler alert, with Jim Parsons opened, and it made like, it made less than $1 million. Spoiler alert, it barely crossed it, right? You can look up the box office, Alan, because that movie has a narrow appeal. It's a what you call limited audience. Hollywood needs to go back to the type of thinking of taking movies that appeal to a narrow audience and adjusting the release and the budgets of those movies to that scale. If a movie has, I'm not saying don't make these films. I mean, look, I suggested in another video that Disney should spin off a whole other brand called Disney Sparkle. And Disney Sparkle can just be fully, programming for parents or kids that want to celebrate.
I'm gay, really gay. I'm super duper gay. I'm gayer than a
Alan, perfect.
Michael.
I'm just saying, make those movies, make more of those movies, put it under a label, and scale the release and the budgets to that audience. It's a narrow, small audience that is very loud. Sorry?
Spoiler alert, made 82,000 opening weekend, and it's almost at $1 million total.
It made 80,000
on opening weekend.
Well, because it probably opened in a few screens.
And it's a focus feature too. So
yeah. What I'm saying is, I don't know what the budget of that movie is, but I hope it's under $1 million.
It probably was. It's a straightforward drama. So
no, I guarantee that movie costs like $10 million. Jim Parsons is in it. Look up what's the budget.
But you have to think that they knew the market going in, because this is an LGBT story, and right. I'm not saying, I don't know if it's good or bad, but right. Again, your audience, it's a narrow audience that is attracted to movies like this.
And that's fine. Look, yeah. We cover a lot of those movies. They're called independent films. They're made for low budgets for a narrow audience. That's great. I believe that James Cameron will get to 2 billion. This movie, Avatar: The Way of Water, will make 2 billion. I can't speak for the other films in the series, but this particular film, because of its broad appeal, because of the international market, because it's opening in China, and China is gonna, I think China's gonna love this movie. Yeah. Because of its core values are human values. I just believe that. And I think traditional family adventure, this could be a return to that. I don't think Disney's going to learn this lesson. That is my fear with this, is this movie's going to succeed, and the industry is not going to look at what succeeded. Top Gun Maverick, Avatar: The Way of Water. What failed? A lot of other movies. And movies that should have succeeded and done much better underperformed. Comment here from Mike.
Well, let me just add also that it has legs because the next blockbuster coming out is Quantumania, and that's in February. And I don't think that will topple this movie at that point.
No. Mike MC Wong, problem with Disney Sparkle is this is not what they want to do. The whole point is to push the LGBTQ material on the non-LGBTQ majority. Mistake, because people are rejecting it. And I think when people see it constantly, they get annoyed. And also, Disney, which used to be a trusted brand with families, is no longer a trusted brand with families. That is just a fact. Alan, can you read some more chat comments as I we're reaching the point at which I would be looking at my watch going, when is a good time to go to the bathroom? I have to do it. I just have to do it. So Alan,
Yeah.
take it away.
So Glenn, if you could help me star some of these things. Let's go. Toxic Waltz, N8. Toxic Waltz, Nate. Someone repost how Avatar in 2009 opened to 70 million. Oh, yeah. Did we get to that one? Yeah, I think we did that one already. Okay, so, and I'm pretty sure we did that one. There we go. Okay, Derek Douglas. The people that have power in Disney will just ignore it because there's an audience they want it to be. Yeah, there's a severe underestimation. Disney has gotten to this point where it feels like it has a built-in audience and that they could push whatever they want, and that audience will return. And they underestimate that drastically. And again, this will not change until they're hurt in the pocketbook. Brock Samsonite. I'm not excited about Ant-Man Quantumania. Yeah, I understand. I get it. I did enjoy the first two Ant-Mans. The first one more than the second. And this is just kind of, it continues that tone of too light, too funny, and now we're bringing it into kind of a strange world territory. And it's going to say a lot whether this Kang story is going to hold any weight and carry it to the next, to phase 6, basically. Not a Mouse. This movie will do great, mostly because lack of competition. Absolutely. I mean, Babylon, Puss in Boots. I think those are the two big Christmas releases. Kids are not going to see Babylon. Adults may not even see Babylon. I think there's that spectacle behind this that has been sorely been missing in films lately. The movies you're looking forward to, and I think this is one of those. Amanda Nowicki, hi. My sister-in-law won't let her kids watch any modern Disney. Yeah, don't blame her. Even my daughter is growing tired of it all. Valiant Renegade, spot on that, Film Threat. I've been saying that for over a year. Hollywood cannot spend $200 million on making narrow appeal social politic films clad in blockbuster garb. It will not work. Yeah, that's the problem. Is Hollywood underestimates what the general masses want, and it's not politics. It's not social politics at all.
Yeah, it's weird because there is an attitude in Hollywood that we're better than you.
Mm-hmm.
We're better than you because we recycle. We're nice to people that don't look like us, and we're just better. And that elitist attitude is why these movies suck. I mean, it's sort of a constant, it's sort of a thread in a conversation that we have a lot. It was the subject of our panel at the recent LA Comic-Con, which if you haven't watched that panel, why 99% of movies today are garbage, please watch it on the Film Threat YouTube channel. Also, please subscribe if you've not subscribed to the channel.
Yeah,
trying to grow our channel.
Attitude of, if you are of the other 50% of the nation politically, we don't want your money. And guess what? It's that 50% that you don't like who's been funding your movies all this time.
And it's because they don't know people, they just don't know the average person. They only know their insular bubble of people who all think the same. Kenny Kanthek says, we're better than you and we know. Yeah. It's like from Dodgeball.
The thing I said about Lightyear, the audience that they were trying to reach with the same-sex couple, they didn't even show up to see Lightyear. Yeah,
it's like, if the audience is so big, then why aren't you supporting the movies? But I will say, just because we have writers who write for Film Threat who are gay, and they don't like a lot of these movies. They think it's pandering and leans into stereotypes, and it's annoying. Gamer Ward says about Avatar: The Way of Water, honestly, the 3 hours just flew by. I agree. Gamer Ward and goes on to say, I mean, you can go take a poop watching this movie for 5 to 10 minutes and miss literally nothing unless there's an action scene coming up. Well, there you are. Graham Robbins says, like Michael Jordan said, Republicans buy shoes too. And Amanda Nowicki, did you read this one while I was?
No.
Amanda Nowicki says Disney is Wile E. Coyote trying to catch the Roadrunner, but always falling off the cliff. And Hollywood has a deep aversion to giving people what they want. Well, there you go. Yeah. And Valiant Renegade says, you make all the woke you like, but you have to curtail the budgets to suit. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, that's smart economics. If you have an idea of how much money you might make, then you make your movie based on that.
And Brock Samsonite says James Cameron will have toilets integrated into theater seats by the 5th Avatar movie, so it'll solve the bathroom issue while still breaking new ground. I love that. That we're gonna.
He's such an innovator.
We're gonna end on that comment because we have a very special guest. So we're gonna do a reset here. Just give me a moment. Give me a moment, and I want to talk about this. I want to talk about the movie Yule Log from director Casper Kelly. Now, Casper Kelly may not be a household name like James Cameron, but you need to know who Casper Kelly is because Casper Kelly made one of the most ingenious short films I've ever seen. If you're someone who's a fan of your kind of late night Adult Swim entertainment, you've seen like bizarre, fake, half-hour long commercials for products that don't exist. And Casper Kelly made a short film called Too Many Cooks, which was kind of a parody of a 90s sitcom opening that goes on forever in a way that is so brilliantly creative. I know you know what I'm talking about, Too Many Cooks. If you have not seen Too Many Cooks, I can't tell you the number of people. I probably sent you a text message about it because I can't tell you how many friends I said, oh, you haven't seen Too Many Cooks? You got to see Too Many Cooks. It's just, it goes on and on and on, and it becomes horrific. And then you go back and rewatch it and you realize there's all this stuff hidden in Too Many Cooks that's just sort of in the background. It just keeps upping the ante. I love it. Well, Yule Log premiered, I believe it was Sunday. Correct me if I'm wrong. Casper's about to join us. The latest Rick and Morty episode played, and without any fanfare, without any announcement, there was a Yule Log. And this is a type of video. I'm a huge fan of what they call slow TV, like screensaver type TV. I have a whole file of just Yule Logs. There is a Star Wars Yule Log where Darth Vader is being cooked for hours. It goes on for like 5 hours. So many great videos of this slow TV. Well, he took this concept and literally the beginning of Yule Log. So Rick and Morty ends. This Yule Log is just, you're just seeing it in the background. Suddenly somebody walks in the room, like a cleaning lady. Like, what's going on? What is this? Then a young couple enters this place. The stakes raise. You realize like this isn't just a Yule Log video. There's a whole story. A man is about to propose to the woman he's in love with. And then a killer Yule Log comes to life and begins to murder people in horrible, horrific ways, too graphic to describe on this channel. It's bizarre. It's unlike any a type of like killer. I mean, have you ever heard of the movie Deathbed, the bed that eats people? That's a real movie. And this is in the vein of that. Doesn't take itself too seriously. It's as funny as it is gruesome. Welcome to the show, Casper Kelly. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
As a Gen X filmmaker, it is a special honor to be on your radar. I'm very thrilled. As a longtime fan of you guys and Film Threat, it's an honor.
God. Casper, that means a lot. Thank you. It's good to meet another Gen Xer who doesn't care about any. We don't care. We're the F it generation. We're like, hey, live and let live, whatever. I'm gonna do my thing. Before we talk about Yule Log, I can't believe I'm talking to the guy who made Too Many Cooks. Tell me what was the development of that? I love the fact that like Adult Swim will just make this programming, basically for people who are baked at the end at late night, right? Like that's all the programming is like, yeah, what do people who are high or just like late night and they have the TV? I miss those days where the TV went to snow and there was like, you know, they had the Indian on there with the test pattern. I miss those days of just like, oh, TV's over. It's like life's not happening. But what led to Too Many Cooks?
I think I got interested in just that idea of comedy that repeats until it's annoying and then it gets funny again. You know, like how Andy Kaufman had this routine where he would read from The Great Gatsby, and then as a comedy routine, and then as people started to walk away, he would put down the book and act like he was going to start a regular routine. And then when people settled back down, he would pick up The Great Gatsby again and continue reading. And you know, also just David Letterman, how he'll repeat a joke and on his show, and when it would be funny and then not funny and then funny again. So it started, you know, wanting to do something like that, and then sitcom openings with characters turning around and smiling just seemed like a funny way to do that. And then lastly, I my original idea was to do that for a full 11 minutes, and I asked my boss at Adult Swim, Mike Lazo, you know, what do you think? You think I can do it for 11? He's like, well, I don't know if you can do it for 11. Try it. Maybe you might need to start zigging and zagging at some point. So we built it from there.
But it works so well to the point where like the title cards are like coming alive and doing crazy stuff, and it gets into this bizarre murder story, and it just there's even like a kind of a Wonder Woman reference at one point that just like, oh my god, it's so people in the chat, I know you must have seen Too Many Cooks at some point. I can't tell you how many times. The fun thing also about it was to show it to someone else because you could see their reaction, right?
Yes. And after that came out, Linda Carter followed me back on Twitter, so that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, and now she's probably banned. Who knows?
Yes. Well, we won't talk about Twitter now.
Well, you mentioned Mike Lazo. You know, I've heard his name so much. I'm trying to remember if I met him maybe at San Diego Comic-Con at some point. God, the name is so familiar, but I really have loved the creativity and the sort of creative freedom that Adult Swim gives. It seems like all of its shows. Like, yeah, I don't know, try it. It's weird. Like, what is that? I mean, like that atmosphere has obviously led to not just Too Many Cooks, Yule, but so much other great stuff that I'm sure you were involved in. What is it? What's that creative atmosphere like?
Oh, it was so wonderful. I worked there for decades now, and it's just heaven. And but now I'm a freelancer, so I work for other companies. And don't get me wrong, there's other great companies. I want these jobs, so please. But there's some situations when you have a job with another company where you'll get notes that are longer than the document you had turned in. While with Lazo, it would be more like, fuck it up more. Or, you know, it gets a little boring. Make it more fucked up, which is a great note, you know? Or he would pick a small thing like that talking beer can. That's funny. That's your show. Give me more of that talking beer can or whatever. So he was, and he retired recently. And I said this at his retirement party: is a lot of people are motivated by fear, a lot of executives, but he created an environment where he kept things cheap enough, and he was really motivated by boredom. He did not want to be bored, which is a great direction, because I don't want to bore him either. I want to be entertaining. So, yeah, that was working at Adult Swim.
Well,
and now Michael Oline is there, who is a showrunner himself, created Harvey Birdman, and it's continuing.
Well, you getting a lot of love in the chat here. Let's go to some chat comments and questions. Eric Jimenez says, "Too many cooks, too many cooks, too many cooks."
Yeah, we're getting a lot of comments like that.
Oh yeah.
Now you guys are getting it stuck in my head, and that's not fair.
Imperfect says, Gen X here, can confirm I don't care at all. So
it's kind of fun and low pressure to be between these two towering generations that are much huger than we are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Imperfect, ride every joke until the wheels fall off. And then TPPT says Adult Swim is freedom for artists. Can you confirm that?
Yes, I do feel that. Yeah, they gave us a lot of. I mean, there's still a lot of things I feel like could only be done there. After all these years and people wanting to do things like it. I mean, there's other great companies as well, but it's a brand. Like when you hear something's adult, it's like HBO. When you hear something HBO, you're like, oh, okay. And when you hear Adult Swim, you're like, oh, I'm interested. And there aren't a ton of those.
Brock Samsonite says, from what I understand, Lazo is very involved in the creative process. How different is it to work with him to a traditional producer with less input?
I feel like he gave us more. I think I would disagree. I think Lazo was less involved. I guess there would be some instances where he didn't think something was working, and we would call that, you would get under his microscope, and then he would maybe start tinkering with it. But if he basically thought what you were doing was working, he would leave you alone. And one other, and I'll quit rambling about Adult Swim, but one interesting thing is he just had a very small department. He did not have very many other executives. So they were busy. So they didn't have time to micromanage as much as other companies might that have like a big team of executives, So that's another way to keep it lean and just keep it to the point.
Speaking of Adult Swim, we should mention that the formal title is Adult Swim Yule Log.
Oh, there you go. That's the formal title. Okay.
Yes.
Brock Samsonite, Too Many Cooks gave me a few nightmares, but oddly enough, they weren't terrifying, just disturbing. So then Toxic Waltz N8 says Adult Swim, along with Toonami, changed the game culturally. Its impact cannot be fully registered to anyone who didn't live through it. And then I have watched Too Many Cooks a ton. It and This House Has People in It are some of my favorite one-shots from Adult Swim. And then so Amanda Nowicki says, love the goblin in the background. And wait a sec, did you?
Oh, wait.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Stockholm says, you also did the Cheddar Goblin in Mandy?
Yes. That's a thrill. I mean, to be a part of that movie. I love that movie's a masterpiece. So
yes,
to be a part of that is a thrill.
Yeah. Too Many Cooks is fantastic, says Graham Robbins. Brock Samsonite, there's too many cooks in the damn kitchen. And let's see.
Can I ask you, what is your comedy background? What brought you to this point with Adult Swim that you're able to work for them and do content for them?
I started out very briefly. I went to film school of a kind at North Carolina Chapel Hill, and then moved to LA. And I was doing a cartoon strip in weeklies, sort of like Life in Hell, because that's a Gen X thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's a boomer. You know what I mean? That was the time to do weekly cartoons. And I got a job at Cartoon Network doing promos in my 20s. And I did stuff like we had a Scooby-Doo thing, and I'm like, well, I'm going to do a parody of the Blair Witch Project. And we went out in the woods and shot live action footage and then comped in the Scooby-Doo gang, animated in there. And then it kind of grew from there, and then I slid over to Adult Swim. Like one would slide into DMs. I just slid gradually over there from Cartoon Network.
Well, let's see. More, just some more comments here. Let's pivot to talk about Yule Log. Finally, someone confronts the horror of the Yule Log, says Patrick Lemire. And another quick comment here from Kenny Kanthik for $15. Thank you for your support of the channel. Had to donate once I heard about Too Many Cooks. Happy Friday, gentlemen. Have you ordered your broom shakalaka? If you haven't seen that, it's a crazy Adult Swim infomercial. I haven't seen that one, but I love those. The Adult Swim like fake infomercials are brilliant.
I think that most of them are on HBO Max now, and they're great. I'm a fan. Like, there's another one called Mops, which is a 80s sort of teen sex comedy, but it's played at like quadruple speed, so the movie is in 11 minutes, but you can follow all of it because we're used to those kind of movies. That's by Todd Rohal. It's really great.
Yeah, I should mention Adult Swim Yule Log is on HBO Max, along with the infomercial series, the entire series.
And Patrick
So it's all
Lemire
there.
asked, a question for you, Casper. Did you work on the greatest event in television history?
No, but I love that too. Do you know what that is, Chris?
No.
Oh, it's these hilarious shorts where they make a big deal. Contemporary comedians and so forth, they make a big deal out of exactly recreating a famous sitcom show open. And they did like Heart to Heart and Too Close for Comfort and another one. And it's just hilarious to see. I can't remember. I think it was Amy Poehler is in Heart to Heart, but it's just recreating all those shots that are burned in our mind. It's very funny.
Oh my God. I would just like to see them bring back Battle of the Network Stars.
Oh my God. Yes.
I was so invested in that as a kid. They would get stars from ABC, NBC, and CBS, and they would do really stupid, like three-legged race or just like dumb stuff, and they would just fight, and it was dumb. It was stupid. CBS wins, like who cares? But maybe Battle of the Streaming Stars.
That's a great idea.
Yes. You could
like you and Mr. Beast in a potato sack race. I'd watch that.
Why not? Let's see. Zavin says you have appreciable artistic visions, Casper.
Well, thank you.
Greasy Guido says the first act of Yule for 555. Thank you for that. The first act of Yule is amazing. I was impressed as it seems like some of those scenes were one long continuous shot. Is that accurate?
Yes, they had to be because the camera is locked off. There was no cutting. And that was scary because there's no flexibility there. But I'm glad you appreciated it.
Yeah. Well,
thank you, Greasy Guido.
I just was looking for it, like, because you've seen those movies that brag that, oh, this is a very long shot. And I'm trying to look at like where you might have cut. And like, even like the cops show up and I'm like, are they cut? Did they cut or did they not cut? Like, what's going on? And it was great. It was great.
Thank you. Thank you.
The Joker says, I loved the Blair Witch Scooby parody. Those were some really fun days watching Cartoon Network. Cartoon Network or adult? Yeah.
Yeah, that was on Cartoon Network. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I just did these bumpers and I designed it so that you could put them all together and make a show because I was trying to make a show even then.
Zavin asks, Casper, what are your biggest horror and comedy influences?
Oh, that's a good question. I definitely think comedy, Mad Magazine, Sam Raimi, Coen Brothers. I'm probably missing a bunch. And horror, I'm a late bloomer with horror because it scared me as a kid. I saw The Exorcist this year for the first time.
Oh my God.
But but I always loved like American Werewolf in London, and I saw what was that for the director did the Hobbit. Why am I blanking on his name?
Oh, Peter Jackson.
Yeah, those first two movies, Meet the Feebles, and they did this other one, which is the most slapstick, violent thing I've ever seen.
Frighteners, that one?
What's that?
The Frighteners?
No, it was before the Frighteners. It's bananas. Like somebody will have their chest is shot out, and then there's a battle through the chest hole. Yes. Oh, someone said Ralph Bakshi. Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So, and then I saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre a few years. I'm late to that, and Phantasm, and those blew my mind too. It's kind of fun to see these so late.
And then Broxham says, "I'd be interested to see what kind of game show comes out of Casper's mind." And
well, I like those Japanese game shows. Those are some weird ones.
Oh my God, they're crazy. Solomon Thornton says, "Thank you, sir, for my childhood. I would watch Adult Swim even though I wasn't old enough to watch it. I salute you." And
that's how it should be watched. Because we grew up like that. Because we only had kids fare for a limited amount of time. So most of our time was watching stuff that wasn't really meant for us,
Yeah, exactly. It was one of those things of like, we had, I'm old enough to remember when Saturday morning, that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. And when the funny animals came on around noon, you saw Humans, it was like, oh, that was the end. You had to wait, until the next. And I also love when they did the previews. Remember when they would do the preview of what's going to be on the new Saturday morning season? and they would do
Oh
the
yes,
Yeah.
I got a Blu-ray of a bunch of those.
that
Yeah.
exists.
Oh yeah. We'll talk after. I'll find that for you. I
And
found it online, and I'm like, yeah, sign me up.
oh,
Also, like after school, they would have like, here's a Twilight Zone, and then an Outer Limits, which is an even weirder Twilight Zone. I'm like, yeah.
true. Let's see. I saw Eric Jimenez says I saw the movie on Sunday on Adult Swim. It was the craziest thing I've seen in such a long time. I loved it. And Spidey Sensei,
Thank you, Eric.
Spidey Sensei 72 must have shown up late. Is that a Cheddar Goblin behind him?
Yes, it is. I'm not reversed. Here we go. Yes, there he is.
There you go. And let our final question here. 'Cause I have another guest about to join us. But I gotta say, Casper, it's just amazing to meet you and watching your work for years. I didn't realize you were Gen X, which sort of Gen X and punk rock sort of attitude kind of all blends in. So it's a pleasure to talk to you here. But this is our last question here from Flaccid Phoenix. What is your dream project?
Oh, that's a great question. I want to make more movies, and I would love to say the premises of them, but I want to hold back and surprise you. But I after making this movie, I've got the bug. I really want to make more. Oh, I would love to do an anthology show. I really want to do that sometime. I've tried. I'm going to try again because I have a weird kind of Black Mirror type of thing. I would love to do that.
Well, I would love to see something like that. I think that we're more in need of a Black Mirror type show than at any time in history. We really need science fiction and fantasy that kind of looks at the madness of our times. I think that would be a lot of fun. I'd love to see it. And then people you're just getting a lot of love. Brock Sam said, "Thank you, Casper. Your work is amazing." Dude, thank you for coming here. And I didn't realize Yule Log is now on HBO Max. You know, just you can see it now, and all those infomercials. I guess I'll just, HBO Max has an Adult Swim section. Is that right? Like,
yeah, they have these hubs. Like they have a Turner Classic Movies hubs, and I love it. It's probably my favorite streaming service. It's really good.
And not just because you work for them. I feel the same way. That and Netflix are kind of like my two favorite. There's just so much new and more interesting material on those. I always seem to find something to watch. So great. We're going to have to end it there. Casper, thank you so much for joining us on the Film Threat Livecast.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're amazing. And maybe your publicist can connect us. I'd love to find out where to get that Blu-ray and chat with you. Love it.
Awesome.
So,
yes. Let's
cool.
change the emails. All right. Awesome, guys. Have
Take
a
care.
great weekend.
Thanks again.
Right.
Later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was great.
I remember those Saturday morning previews. It was tough because
they were great.
It was tough because there were no VCRs at the time, and so you
Yeah.
had to pick what you were going to watch on the three networks every Saturday morning.
Well, we need to do a quick reset here because we have another special guest coming on. And I appreciate we've got 350 people watching live. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Film Threat is a channel that we just don't talk about like the big movies opening in theaters like Avatar: The Way of Water. We don't just talk about your smaller indie movies, which we feel you should know about. And there's a lot of worthwhile independent films that you should explore. We like to bring you the filmmakers. And we want you to talk to them directly. So we're going to do a quick reset here as we bring on director. Wait, is that a good? Should we do that or this? There we go. So we bring on director Mark Pellington, my friend who has been around the indie film world for so long. I need to tell you some stuff about Mark. Mark created one of the greatest, most innovative shows on television in the 80s called Buzz. It was a brilliant show that was so far ahead of its time. Look up this show, Buzz, from MTV. Buzz was a show that was on late night on MTV, and it blew my mind. It was so far ahead of its time. It talked about politics, made you think. It was funny. It was bizarre, filled with mini documentaries. Film Threat was even featured on one of the episodes of Buzz. It was brilliant show. Not only that, Mark Pellington, you might recognize him. Yes, he was in Jerry Maguire. I know he gets that a lot. He was in Jerry Maguire as one of the sports agents. You can see him at Jerry Maguire's bachelor party, yucking it up. And he's also made some amazing independent films, Arlington Road among them. He made a recent film that played Slam Dance called The Severing, which is a part experimental film that just sort of worms its way into your head. It's hypnotic. We've covered The Severing on filmthreat.com with reviews. Mark Pellington is today a re-release of his movie Going All the Way, starring Ben Affleck, is out in theaters today in limited release. It is a slightly new cut of the film. Mark is. Why don't I just bring Mark on? Mark Pellington, welcome to the Film Threat Livecast, dude. So good to see you. Are you at your office?
No, I'm in a hotel in New York, getting ready to premiere it tonight at the Quad Cinema with my friend Alex Ross Perry, who's going to do the Q&A afterwards.
Oh, that's great. First of all, congratulations. Last time I saw you, which was a few years ago, I don't even know if I can talk about this. Can I talk about the doc?
Yeah, we're getting closer and closer, trying to get some finishing funds. The Buzz doc, yes, Buzz was a show in 1990 for MTV, televised acid. William Burroughs was our kind of voice and host, way ahead of its time, kind of a thematic collage that kind of predicted, it was very prescient about the future. It was the internet before the internet, and kind of took current affairs and put them through a blender. And yeah, I'm happy to see you again, Chris. And I can tell you a little bit about Going All the Way, which is also a little bit of revisionist re-editing, you know?
Well, let's hear it. So the movie came out in 97. What was the name of the company? Was it Polygram or
Gramercy?
Gramercy. Gramercy. And they did a lot of indie films. What was it like? You weren't 100% happy with the released version at that time.
Yeah, you know, look, this was a coming of age film. I did it first movie, right? All the first time mistakes, and a drama, comedy, very poignant, a lot of deep themes of friendship and coming of age. And, you know, but I shoot a 135-page script in 30 days. And I think the version, it was a book I read growing up, so I loved it. Had a great young cast: Ben Affleck, Jeremy Davies, Rachel Weisz, Nick Offerman's first movie, Rose McGowan, Amy Locane. So it was all these people before they were stars. And the movie, we showed it at Sundance, we sold it, and the version that went to Sundance, I liked it. And the version that got released, you still like it, but it wasn't quite, you know, no studio is ever going to say make it longer, darker, and more depressing, right? They're going to say make it shorter and funnier and shorter and less dark. And so the version that came out in the theaters got pretty decent reviews, good performances, but it wasn't quite, I was kind of like, that first timer mistake, you know, that first timer, like, oh, I should have done this, should have done that. And blending satire and realism is very, very difficult, very hard. So there was a lot of shit that ended up on the cutting room floor. So cut to 25 years later during COVID, I'm bored, I'm rifling around my office, and I find an editor's assembly on a Betacam. I convert it to a drive, and it's 3 hours and 40 minutes. And it's everything we shot in order, everything that the editor, award winner Leo Trombetta, looked at. I put it on a drive. I said, Leo, we should do something with this. Couple conversations, and 3 months later, he comes back with a 2 hour and 10-minute version of the film. And I said, wow. So simultaneously, a company we were playing with some Mothman Prophecies in Arlington Road for a company, because Lakeshore had folded, the company that made it. I said, you know, you guys have a Ben Affleck movie that nobody ever saw. Well, dollar signs go off. Cut to Oscilloscope, great company that had been making these reissues of 90s movies, kind of like redoing them and putting them out with DVDs. So I sent them the cut, and they dug it and said, let's do it. So it's got 50 minutes of new footage, a complete new score, new titles, a voiceover. So it's really a director's edit. And me and Leo just kind of like, it's the version of the film that I think is a better version of the book. And it's a more complete psychological, internal, dramatic version of Dan Wakefield's story. Dan Wakefield wrote the screenplay. He's 90 years old, and he got to see the movie before he lost his sight 6 months ago. So it's really full circle, and a chance for any filmmaker out there or any musician to redo their first record, redo your first novel, a chance to kind of revisit that first piece of work with the experience now of 25 years of filmmaking, and really kind of tell the story in a more complete, more mature, more immersive way that protects the actors, the tone. It's a real movie, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing the first time.
Well, Mark, you've got getting a lot of love and a lot of questions in the chat. Do you mind answering some chat
Please
questions?
do.
Let's do it. Let's see. People are saying Bill S. Preston Esquire. I know what that's a reference to. Ooh, Pellington directed the music video for the Connells' Stone Cold yesterday. And Goober says, I liked Mothman. Creepy. Amanda Nowicki says, I think my mom watched Going All the Way when it first came out in 97. So there you go. Mike MC Wong says, wow, Going All the Way. I watched that a long time ago. Also, Arlington Road was indeed awesome. And Portland 182 has a question. Have you shown the longer cut to the cast? I mean, and it's interesting, like Ben Affleck, this is like his rise, right? Like,
yeah,
97.
this was right. He was right on the precipice. And yes, we've sent the cut to everybody, and some have seen it and some haven't gotten back to us. But they were all like aware of the recut and really supportive. And, some have shown up to different screenings and stuff, but they all are aware about it, and it's been really, really a positive experience.
That's great. And then another question here, TPPT says, and the release I bet with major actors had to be a challenge. Were there any issues with rights?
No, because they don't have any. You didn't have to go back to them once you were kind of, they signed off their rights. They were cleared for the original movie and the original shoot. So you're just redoing all that stuff.
And Amanda Nowicki has a question or a comment here. Quote, I didn't know what the F I was doing the first time. Greatest line any director could give.
I literally had been since 85 when I was at MTV, and I made Buzz and poetry series. I had shot tons of stuff. I had done tons of videos and commercials, but I literally didn't know what like screen direction was. Ted Hope, my friend, always said, he told me years before, he goes, you just need to do a short, like master, close up, over, wide shot, like just the basic film grammar. So, each scene in the first film that we released was like, each scene was right, like realism, satire, wider lens. But when you put it together, it's like a little imbalance. So then you go see Hal Ashby or American Beauty, and you're like, oh, there you go. That's how you mix. Or Sideways. That's how you mix comedy and drama. Like, rubber bands around a baseball, not kind of like choppy.
Cool.
But first time mistake.
And then
learning.
Goober says, what did you like the most about directing music videos?
The music, the freedom. And I've made a lot of very elaborate, long narrative videos. Music videos are probably my favorite form because they take my subconscious, and I'm probably work more comfortably in a image subconscious mode than plot driven linear mode, where the structure has to kind of make sense. That's why the best films like Arlington Road have had strong blueprints. I like Mothman too, but there's a lot of freedom to do stuff. But right now, the next wave of movies I would like to have be like what I've learned from narrative linear films to what I've liked to do in videos, and kind of let them come out, let it emerge like that.
And then Solomon Thornton says, my cousin used to record the Buzz episodes. I thought it was cool. I used to record them before I knew you. I had all these VHS tapes with every episode of Buzz. I think I missed a few. That needs to, when the documentary about Buzz comes out, please find a way to have them available to see in some form, or, you know, maybe it goes to streaming. I don't know. It was so far ahead of its time.
Well, you know, on my website, markpellington.com, if you go to TV, there's a couple pieces of different episodes. I haven't put all 13 on there because, number one, you know, I'd probably get sued, and we're in the middle of making the doc, but there's a really great 48-minute best of Buzz compilation on my website that really gives you the best of the best pieces on there. And the doc is going to have a big section of it about that idea of taping, because it is very much about also the story of the transition from analog to digital. People don't remember, like in 1990, it's like there was no internet. There was no like DVR. There was no, like, it was tape. And MTV only showed it once. They didn't rebroadcast it. It was one time. So it was like kind of like a theater performance, right? Each show aired once, and that's what it was.
Look at this. I'm looking at your website right now. You can actually connect with you on it. Is it in the vault? I bet the vault.
Nope. It's under television. I'm glad
Television.
you
All
opened
right.
it up.
I'm going to go to
Vault, all my old MTV shit is there. No, not the vault.
Go back.
Television. I got it.
Television.
Here we go. Wow.
So it's not that. If you go down to Buzz compilation, see, all my United States of Poetries are there, which
there you
is
go.
Cool.
Dude,
Yeah.
This is, oh my God, this is awesome. I don't think
you should play this on a loop on your Film Threat.
There we go.
And I should say, it's Chris's, to the documentary, the idea was Chris's idea. Well, first you said do Buzz again as a show.
Right.
And then you said, oh, do a doc. So it was your idea, number one. And number two, I've got some great ideas to redo Black Mirror, not Black Mirror, but to, you know, take Black Mirror meets Buzz. How's that sound?
Well, that would be amazing. The show Buzz was just so far ahead. It just blew my mind, that show. And it was one of the things, it was never advertised. It was never promoted on MTV. It just showed up late night. And I don't even know if it aired. I don't even know if they repeated it. I just remember
they never repeated it. It was 13 half hours, and that was it. They canceled it. They said it was weird, depressing, and expensive. You can't be all three.
Yeah, they don't care if it's any of those
things. My tombstone, bro.
Oh my God. Well, we're gonna let that play while we I know we have to wrap it up. You're in New York right now for the premiere. When is the premiere tonight?
7. It's already showing afternoon shows. I'm sure it's beating the shit out of Avatar in box office gross, right? Like, and it's one tiny theater. But I have to say, I'm so proud of the film, and really, really pleased and respect the Oscilloscope so much, and Sarah and all the press people, and they've just done a great job getting it out there. And we're like, for people who like 90s cinema, you know, and those guys, because it doesn't look like a 90s movie, because it's set in the 50s, but it feels very contemporary. It feels like it could have been made last week. So it's super cool, and it plays the first screening. Big screen is tonight at 7. So if you're in Manhattan, get through the rain and come see it, or it's going to be all weekend and all next week.
That's great. We still have some more questions here. I don't know how much time you have.
I got time.
Okay, cool. The favorite music video you directed, asks Amanda Nowicki.
I love Amanda. You know what? It has to be Pearl Jam's Jeremy, because that it was the deepest first real narrative video I did. It was the most personal video I ever made at the time, and it's had the longest lasting impact. So it has be my favorite because it's pretty powerful still to this day.
And what Eric Stratton asked, what kind of things did you add, change to get more immersion?
In Jeremy or this film?
Going all the way, yeah.
In this film, yeah.
You know, immediately from the opening titles that were brilliantly done by Sergio Pinheiro, who had edited The Severing, I said, I found a bunch of old reels of optical things and images I had shot for the movie and Film Leader and all this garbage. I said, dude, go do your version of 7. Because Kyle Cooper, who did the 7 titles, is a friend of mine. I said, go do your version of 7. And let's start the movie saying we're inside a fucked up version of the 50s. Even Oscilloscope's poster, everything is kind of a collage inside. Starts with voiceover, starts with different music. So it's as immersive as you can get in an objective 2D sort of way.
And then Kelpie says, absolutely love the Mothman prophecies. I understand you rejected many original scripts. What was your goal with the movie? Did you speak to John Keel?
Spoke to John Keel. I just rejected all the rewrites they had done. And I went back to the original script that Richard Haddam had done that I had turned down right after Arlington Road, and just kind of worked with my friend Louis Clark and Ernie Marrero and just took all the good stuff from the drafts where they were trying to make it more of a creature thing and got rid of all the creature stuff and just said, the less you see Mothman, the better. And we're really close. I'd say in a few months, we might be announcing the TV version of Mothman.
And, you know, as I'm watching these images on the Buzz compilation that you have on your website, I'm struck with like, oh, these are early memes. These like, it just looks like it has that meme kind of feel, that sort of the cut up tapes and the things, the techniques that William Burroughs talked about. It's fascinating.
But this is, you put one of the things in the documentary that we're discovering now that we're going to get to is literally how Buzz formerly was the seeds of the same language of TikTok, right?
Yeah.
So to try and draw that, and you know, I've never been on TikTok. I don't know, or Snapchat, but if you talk about digestible, 2-minute pieces of content with text, sound, and image, Buzz did that in 1990, right? We were even doing that at MTV in the mid 80s. So that compression of form, and the most important thing to remember is Buzz was pre-mixed. It was sound first, then we chopped pictures on top of it. So all the audio bites and music were done first, then we laid the picture on top of it. That's how we were trained at MTV. It wasn't until I made Going All the Way that we did sound afterwards. I was like, what are you talking about sound afterwards? You do the sound first. You strip out the audio and you make it sound right and feel right, and then you put the picture on top of it.
Liam in Wales, we have an international audience watching us. Liam in Wales says, what is it like restarting an old project? How did you approach the changes? Did you find parts that really surprised you left out?
Leo, it was like, we have 50 minutes of new stuff. We took out 20 minutes from the original film, this whole kind of story with a preacher who his mother had brought in, who had caught him masturbating and is trying to change him. We just broomed that out because that was an elongated first act and put back in an entire 30-minute sequence of Ben Affleck growing a beard, which brought more Rachel Weisz, more of the mom scenes, a whole healing aspect of the third act. So, you just look at it fresh and you're actually trying to tell the best version of the film that I don't think we ever got, had time to or had the opportunity to, because we were just so exhausted getting the movie made and making it, and then you sell it at Sundance. And back then, maybe even now, you're like, God, can we just sell it? It's so by the time you're like tweaking it to come out with Gramercy, you're like, fine. You know what I mean? You weren't sitting there saying, this has to be, you're like, it's good. It had gotten a good reaction at Sundance. Sure, you can take that little scene out. But only when you look at something later and you see what's been missing, do you really, there's a lot more depth, a lot more heart, a lot darker, a lot. So therefore, the darker it goes, the deeper then the resonance of the catharsis in the third act. And that you don't know until you kind of make some movies.
And last question from Portland 182 asked, do you have any future projects you can talk about? Well, we're kind of already talking about one right now with Buzz. But any other future projects?
I got a thriller that I'm hoping to start soon called Lone Wolf. And my opus is a project called Clang, written by Paul Schrader, which is a kind of unsolvable murder mystery.
All right. And I can't wait for the Buzz doc. When you're ready, when you got a cut, Mark, let me know. I'd love to see it. If you got a cut.
When I see you after the new year, come over. I've got a 5-hour big thing to watch.
All right, let's watch it together.
Yeah.
You're right around the corner from El Coyote.
Yeah, maybe we'll tease a few clips on the on Film Threat.
I would love to do that. Mark Pellington, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on the screening tonight. I know it's going to go well, and you're in good hands with Alex on your Q&A, so that's going to be great.
Yeah, I love Alex wrote Nostalgia for me, one of my favorite movies that I made, and he's a great artist and filmmaker, and yeah, just happy to be here, and thanks for all the support, guys, and all the questions from all the people.
Great. Mark, have a great rest of your day. Have a great holiday. I'll see you next year, man.
See you, babe. Bye.
Take care. Later. Mark Pellington is a cool freaking dude. I never met him back. He was like the producer, main creative person. Him and another partner were creative on that Buzz show. That Buzz show changed the way I look at things. Buzz was incredible. If you can find, I know you can find on YouTube, or you can find on markpellington.com, look up and just watch the compilation. You're going to go, this is all stuff that people are talking about now, but presented in a completely different, weird way that was very experimental film. We got to wrap it up. This is, you know what? We're getting into James Cameron running time territory with this episode.
Well, if we keep going another half hour, we'll outlast Avatar.
But I have to show you something. I'm getting a lot of people sending the self-addressed stamped envelopes to get free stuff. I love to give away free stuff. But my friend Jeff Tucker just sent this. Can you see this, Alan?
Yeah.
He sent a Christmas card with our faces on it. What the hell is this?
I know. I'm seeing a lot of that stuff pop up on social media as well.
So he just sent a really nice note from the Tucker family, Jeff Tucker. We hung out like a couple weeks ago, and he just says, thanks for another great year of friendship and kick-ass live streams. Your friend, Jeff Tucker. What a great guy. I love Jeff and the Tucker family. They are amazing. And there you go. So we're getting letters and comments and all that, and I love it. Next week, we're going to be talking about, on our Wednesday live stream, we're going to be talking more about Avatar, Fallout, and sort of where we see the box office going. Like I say, I predict it'll reach that 2 billion figure internationally. Also, we'll have reviews of Babylon. Maybe we'll have a review of The Mean One.
Maybe. I think we have to go to the theater to see The Mean One. But yeah, we do need to talk about Babylon. Definitely.
We have to talk about Babylon. There's so much to discuss there. Alan, anything you want to plug?
Just the website, filmthreat.com. We just posted our Babylon review, gave it a 10 out of 10, which clearly wasn't my review. But
okay, we're going to talk about it next week.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. I'm curious.
We're going to talk about it next week. Solomon Thornton says, Chris is interviewing two guys that were part of my childhood. Thanks again, dear sir. Well, yeah, it's weird. Like, Casper, really an integral, all the Adult Swim, like late night shows, and his first feature film, Yule Log, which is on HBO Max. And then Mark Pellington bringing his movie back. And that documentary, I can't wait to see. I told him, I said, why don't you make a doc on you? I just trying to explain to him how culturally significant Buzz was. Yeah. And it's this obscure TV show that people would trade videotapes. If you look up Buzz on YouTube. You got to look up Buzz, MTV, Late Night, whatever. You'll find some episodes that people have uploaded that show, and then read the comments. People were blown away by that show, blown away. So, and I was just really
if they were smart, they would set up a TikTok account for that. For the dog.
I was selfishly just want to get the episodes. So I'm just saying to Mark, you should do a documentary, but I just want to get all the episodes. Can I get those from you? Oh my God, I'm such a nerd. But I want to thank you also, our audience. This was a long one, running time. I'm sure some of you went to the bathroom. I know I did. I went to the bathroom during the live stream. Have to thank Glenuccio, our intrepid producer, killing it with the videos. He is there no matter what happens. Glenuccio is there. He is just reliable. He's, it's love it. So I'm trying to find a video to show. So, but he's both. So subscribe to Film Threat. Follow us on Film Threat at everything. Go to shop.filmthreat.com. Pick up something for the holidays, like one of these seasons screenings, shirts, and or the sweatshirt version that Alan is wearing currently. And we're going to be back next Wednesday, and we will be around Friday. We'll be doing a show because I know a lot of you are traveling for the holidays or whatever. I don't know if Alan's going to be on the show.
It should be. We got there's 2 big films coming out that weekend as well.
Well, and we are going to just invite on a bunch of special guests. It's going to be the Ghosts of Film Threat Past. It's going to be a fun. We'll get some other special guests, people you've seen on Film Threat familiar. We're going to be talking about a lot of that, and then I think we'll be around for the holidays. So feel free to join us or not. Yeah, we're going to be around. Movies don't stop coming out.
Yeah.
I'm certainly going to be watching them.
We have nothing going on during the holidays. So.
Well, I'm just doing, I'm just visiting family on the holidays, but on the non-holiday, luckily Wednesdays and Fridays fall on dates that are not specifically holidays. I may be in my girlfriend's kitchen. There's a
messing things up.
Very good chance I'll be in my girlfriend's kitchen.
Will you be mixing eggs with?
Oh my God, that was. Why did I do that?
Oh my gosh.
Although it's, we once did an issue of Film Threat magazine where we reviewed macaroni and cheese. Also during the holidays, I've got some people have been sending me like magazines and books to sign with self-addressed like boxes. Yeah. So I've got a bunch of that. Maybe I'll just like sign all that stuff. And while I'm signing it, I'll show it to you.
Do you need me to stop by and sign things too?
No, we're good. We're good.
Thanks.
No. These are like old issues of Film
Threat,
books that
I have nothing to do with.
Well, if you had something to do with it, yeah. So, anyways, hey, have a great weekend, everybody. I hope you decide to go to the movies. Whether you see Avatar: The Way of Water, you see another movie, see Babylon. Just let's bring back the movie theater. I love it. Anything else, Alan?
Yep. Visit filmthreat.com and let's get out of here.
Movies.